I have no music, Morgan. This is what you wanted. I'm still getting ready. And I haven't found any music for this yet. This is as far as I got. Morgan wanted a new starting screen. That's what you. That's about as. That's as far as I get. I'm still getting stuff ready. Leave me alone. It's been a busy week. Okay, might as well get this screen off here. Okay, here we go. That's as far as I got with the starting screen. I didn't have any music and I didn't have any time, so that's what you guys get. Morgan kept complaining. It's confusing having the same opening. I get that. It's confused me on occasion, but I haven't been able to work on it. It's just been so busy. Anyway, EDC Squirrel here. Welcome back to another unboxing. I don't know why I have category education up here. Well, close enough. It's kind of education. It's entertainment and education. So there you go. I'm educating and entertaining. Well, EDC Squirrel here. We got some more packages that finally trickled in. I do have some really exciting stuff as well. Now, there's not going to be, again, like the last week didn't have that many packages. This week, not going to have as many packages either. Possibly even less next week. Not sure what I'm planning on doing for the week after, because I've been kind of on a break from doing a lot of purchasing for reasons. And I mean, I do have quite a few packages today. What I'm planning on doing is filling in the time possibly with like either more knife maintenance, more of my collection, other things that I do with my knives, and just plain chat. Maybe talk about knives you guys own and things like that. You know, we can do like pocket dumps and stuff like that. I can show you the pocket dump I currently have, because I was out and about earlier and I just ended up getting comfortable like a little bit ago. But it mainly consists of my firearm. The knife that I was carrying today were these. This is my Cold Steel Tough Light, and I was carrying my Concept Dissipator. I don't use this holster, but kind of a pocket dump without showing my wallet, and I don't think you guys really care about pens, but that's what I was carrying earlier today. What's in your wallet? Actually, no, that's not in my wallet. To give you an idea of what I carry, I do change my knives somewhat regularly throughout the week, just for shits and giggles. I mean, I have a big enough collection. It'd be a shame not to use some of them. Otherwise, I have knives I obviously carry because I think they're pretty. I have knives that I obviously own that I probably will never use. But I try to use a lot of the knives in my collection because I feel like they kind of need to be used. I'm weird like that. Okay, so now for the nitty gritty. Hey, Waylon. Hey, Kyle. Glad you guys could make it. Let's get started. And like I said, I don't have as many packages this week, but I do have some really interesting surprises. First of all, let's start with the small, like the soft packages first, like I always do. And we've got, this one is from somebody that I've never ordered from before. I can't remember what half this stuff is. This one is from Taylor Leedy, the form filler. If you're familiar with Whatnot, you might have heard what a form filler is. And this is the first time I've purchased anything from her. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. Just change this blade. And I'll try to remember to keep the packing list so I can remember what the heck I paid for them. Ooh, this one's another. I probably already have this knife. I've been snapping up these Rough Rider tortoise shells quite a bit, mainly because I'm under the understanding everybody I've talked to has heard the same rumor that the tortoise shells they're going to stop production on these tortoise shells, and I've been trying to get my hands in a whole set. And sometimes if I come across a good deal, I don't mind grabbing an extra one. And I don't remember what this one. Oh no, I don't think I have this, or do I? This one, I might have one of these already. That's fine. I don't care. This one is a Rough Rider tortoiseshell toothpick, Texas toothpick. I've just always loved the tortoise shells, and it's an imitation tortoise shell. I think the shield is pretty cool, first of all, the tortoise shell shield, and I just love how the colors in the scales sort of like just float. It's really hard to tell on the camera, I think. And I think my camera's a lot higher than it used to be. I don't know. I hope you guys are having. Let me fix something. I just realized I had my screen kind of backwards than what I normally do for this show. Okay, that's a little better. I have a little better idea of how I'm showing these up on camera. Yes, I did start a list. Now, again, before you go freaking out, I don't mind getting extras of these. Because, number one, these tend to be one of my favorite scales or Rough Rider series. Number two, I actually like to use these on occasion. On occasion, I'll carry some of the tortoise shells with me. And number three, like I said before, it is rumored that they are going to stop production on this particular series. So I don't mind having a couple extra, because then maybe I can sell them. I'm not in the business of like acquiring stuff to sell, but every once in a while I might grab an extra couple here or there. And partially because if they do go away, I'm just another avenue to be able to acquire one if you're unable to get one. But I do love these tortoise shells. I do like the Texas toothpicks because they're small, making them super easy to carry, and they're just useful little knives. Really sharp. This one's got a good snap to it, and just really cool little knives. And again, the tortoiseshell ones happen to be one of my favorite series just because I love the way the scales look. So I am not overly. I mean, I don't want to end up with like say 5 of the same thing, obviously, but you know, I can take a quick peek. I'm pretty sure I own this one. It's a possibility I don't, because I don't normally grab the toothpicks. My favorite things are trappers, which are the 2-bladed on one side, and sod busters, and then the occasional weird one like the lady legs or the cotton samplers. As far as this one goes, I'm trying to see if I have another one. My friend made a spreadsheet that I fill out now. I've got about 200 knives currently in my collection, and I still haven't counted all of them. I know I'm over 200. Like I haven't even counted any of the Titan knives that I have in my collection yet. Tortoise shell or toothpick. I know. Okay, if I filter this, I'd show you the actual list. It's kind of a pain in the butt to like change some of the stuff, or my screen. You'll just have to believe me. Toothpick. Let's see. Wait, nope. Oh, I might not have this one. Really? I almost could have sworn I had a tortoiseshell toothpick. It's possible. I might have had the older tortoiseshell toothpick as well, which doesn't have the tortoiseshell shield. It's like it was an older version when Rough Rider was still spelled with an I, and that's a possibility. I might have that toothpick, and I might be confusing it with that. But oddly enough, I'm not. Nope. There it is. Found it. Okay. So I have 2 of these. This is my second one. Now I'll mark it there. Not a problem, not a complaint. Perfectly happy with 2. But that was from Taylor Leedy, the form filler. I gotta put these aside so that way I can rate them. I also make sure to rate them after I get their package. This one is from Leviticus. We've heard that name before. We've had a couple things from them. Let's see here. I won't linger too long on a knife if I know I already have it. Gotta fix my screen again. When does collecting turn into addiction? When you pass of 200? Oh! Okay, this is interesting. I got... Well, this is an EDC channel, Everyday Carry, so this definitely qualifies. I can't remember what this other one is, though. This one is... Oh, yeah, this one was kind of neat. Okay, first thing that I got is I did pick up an O-clip. This is... Where's my screen? It's messed up. Okay, there we go. I just realized I couldn't see myself. Well, you know what I mean. This is an O-clip Olight. Olight happens to be probably one of my favorite flashlight companies. They have a little bit of everything. This one is a clip-on. I'm not going to pull it out right now. This is the only clip-on that I have. From what I understand, you can get even holders to clip it onto your hat. This can clip on pretty much anywhere. I think it might also be magnetic, but I don't really remember. We've got 300 lumens. So it's not the brightest, but it has a pretty decent runtime. Even on high, it'll run like about an hour. So just a neat little pickup. Saw it for a pretty good deal. Thought I'd pick it up. Addiction starts at buying doubles and triples of the same knife. I would say addiction starts at triples, because there's many times where I've bought the same knife twice. Because if I really, really, really like a knife, I have a tendency to want to get a second one, so that way I can keep the prettiest one as a safe queen. Basically meaning, you know, keep it pristine, keep it a part of my collection, never being used. And then I'll have the second one that I can use for whatever, and not really worry about it, you know, getting scratched, damaged, chipped, what have you. I mean, I will go hard use on it. Hey, Brando, how you doing? Glad you could make it. Having a slicey Saturday, yeah. But yeah, no, I do EDC, so there you go. That's a cool little flashlight. I do love Olights. I have plenty of Olights. I don't really go out to collect flashlights. I just think flashlights are extremely handy, especially with the amount of times the power goes out in this freaking apartment. That I have flashlights all over the place. There's flashlights on my nightstand. There's flashlights in my nightstand. Gun cabinet, on top of my gun cabinet, by the TV, my girlfriend's nightstand, the kitchen drawers, the living room, the front door, the bookshelf on next to the front. I have them everywhere. Because the amount of times the powers went out and it's like, I need a light. I just want them to be everywhere. And Olight just quickly became a favorite of mine because they have so many different varieties and different types of flashlights. Like I have a few weapon lights from them. I have a rifle light, things like that. And a lot of handy ones. I have one that's on my keychain. I think I've showed before. That's a little magnetic thing. You pull it off the magnet and just turns on, and then you can stick it anywhere. External use only. But you can stick that anywhere that the magnet will stick to. And then to turn it off, you just place it back into its little magnetic holster thing, and it just turns off. Simple, it works, and it's bright as hell. But the other thing I did get with Leviticus is this neat little Rough Rider, because I've never seen one of these before, and it was so cool. I have a thing for super unique knives. This is called the Zipper, zips out and zips in, kind of like my pants. This is cool. I've never seen this before. How does this work again? Okay, this is an out the front knife, and you can see here you got, it looks like G10, I'm guessing, on one side, stainless on the other, and you have this funky lever. Okay, this little thing right in front. Yes, yes, you have to clarify external only on a few things because people do weird stuff. I'm not going to elaborate. We'll just leave it at that. But anyway, what is vibrating? Speaking of words, oh, I have the air conditioner running, so the whole apartment is like shaking, and my scale is making vibrating noises. Okay, anyway, back to the knife. Stop it. Back to the knife. This one's a unique one because, as you can see, you can't see the blade on this. But what you do is you take this little lever and you pull up, okay? And it is an out the front knife. And I just thought that was the neatest thing. This one, okay, you know what? I'm going to take the scale away because it's just going to distract the hell out of me. Actually, speaking of the scale, it's a small knife. We can see just how small. Let's change the units because I know nothing's over a pound. It's not fluid ounces. We're going America here. Okay, we've got a very light 0.99 ounces. So that is very light. And a blade length of, let's see here, a blade length of just a hair over 2 inches. So just under 2 inches of, oh, okay, that was dumb. Just 2 inches of usable blade. Oh, well. Okay, that gave me a good poke. Just about 2 inches of usable, or just under 2 inches of usable blade. It's there. Okay. Thankfully, I have calloused fingernails. I did give myself a good poke though. But I thought this was really cool just because of the way it opened. Now, before I get any blood on this, I have a box, and I knew I was going to do this sooner or later while I was here. I have a box, and it's right next to my desk because I'm fiddling with knives all the time. And I have a box of first aid stuff. I have like 20 billion bandages of all sorts of different types. I have antibiotics. I have skin cream. What's that they're doing there? Anyway. And so many different types of bandages because this is something that happens on the regular. Knives should also be external use only, in case I needed to clarify that. Well, that flew out somewhere. I don't know where that Band-Aid went. All right, got another one. Let's fix that because I do not want to be bleeding on anything. All right, there we go. I knew this was going to happen on camera at some point. I just didn't know when. I was actually thinking it's probably going to happen today. Ta-da! Okay. Anyway, so obviously sharp, but just really neat. And now, obviously, to go ahead and retract the knife, you lift the lever, slide it in, and there you go. So, I mean, it's just a neat little knife. Again, I haven't seen anything like this before. And I had to snap it up. And there's even a little, to make it easier to grab hold of that lever, there's kind of like a nail nick on that little lever bit. So that way you can easily pull it up and then close it up or open it up. So it's not hard to do. And it's got a little bit of a detent, so the lever isn't just falling out and flopping out, although it is very easy to move the lever, open it up, and do the same to close it. So it's not, that lever's not going to be flopping around anywhere, which is nice. Now, just by nature, these tend to have a bit of movement on the blade, when fully extended. I have yet to come across an out the front knife, whether automatic or in this case manual, that doesn't have a little bit of blade movement. Now, granted, I don't have a lot of automatic knives. I should say out the front knives. I have like maybe a total of 1, 2, 3, including this one, 4 automatic knives, and even the automatic knife that I do own. Hold on, where is it? That is the most expensive knife in my collection, and actually is the most expensive knife in my collection. I think this one ran roughly about $200 and something. But even that knife has a little bit of blade play. And maybe you guys are familiar with other brands that don't have any. I haven't come across any. I've had Microtechs, not my own personally, but I've played around with a few Microtechs, and they're great knives. Now, don't get me wrong, they're freaking amazing knives. But even they had a little bit of blade play. This is a Tecto, and the Tecto Humvee, and this even has a little bit of blade play. I don't know if it's just inherent in out the front knives, but this is probably the most expensive knife in my collection currently, and you can hear that thing click. And the funny thing is, I've actually had to send this in for repair because at one point I've extended it and then it wouldn't retract. Like, it was stuck like this. But Tecto was very awesome. Called them up, let them know, and they're just like, okay, here's a label, ship it back, and we'll take care of it for you. And they shipped it. They sent me a label, shipped it off to them, and several days later, got it back, good as new. Didn't have to pay shipping or anything. So as far as customer service, Tecto is pretty damn good. So I appreciate that from them. But yeah, out the front knives, I haven't met one that hasn't had a little bit of play. It just seems to be inherent in that type of knife. But this was really a really cool find. And I'll have to see if I can find any more of these. I wonder if they have any different ones that are like this. But that's pretty cool. That's going to be a favorite. Probably a carry too, because again, being a Rough Rider, I love Rough Rider knives. They are so inexpensive, yet I haven't come across. I think I've come across that like maybe one Rough Rider out of all the Rough Riders I own that has had maybe some questionable blade play. But the quality on these Rough Riders has been pretty much nothing but stellar. On pretty much like all but like that one. And I'm pretty sure that one that was a little off was even used, and I didn't get brand new, so that could be a thing as well. But inexpensive, but fantastic knives. I just realized I don't know what I did with the flashlight or the other knife that I just got. What happened to that tortoise shell I put away? Oh no, there it is. Okay, I want to make sure I've got them because I've got to go over them before they go into my collection. All right, so we've got that one done. We've got another one. This is from D&L Gold and Silver. We've had plenty of knives from this guy. Great guy. Although one thing I've realized as I acquire more and more knives on Whatnot is that as I acquire more knives and I watch more shows, I'm realizing that a lot of the shows I'll watch and then I'll be like throughout most of the show, I'll be like, yep, I've got that knife. Yeah, I got that knife. Yep, got that knife too. And so it's not just a money thing that, reasoning why I'm buying less, but it's also because I'm realizing that a lot of the knives that I'm seeing on the auction blocks, I already own because I got them from those auctions. This one, okay, this one didn't cost me much at all. I can't remember what this one is. I can't remember what any of them are. Oh, okay. I think I remember what this one is. This is a Remington lockback. He loves using these Ziploc bags. But this is a Remington. I think I picked this one up, A, because it was super cheap, and it's a lockback. I believe that's a wood and combination wood and bone handle. I'll take the sticker off. I'm going to have to do some cleaning on this one because there'll be stickers on it. Let go. There we go. And I got this one because I think I was trying to enter a giveaway. So I just wanted something inexpensive to enter the buyer's giveaway. Ow. Simple Remington lockback. Really nice lockback, one I don't own yet. I do like the Remington knives. Normally, I tend to shy away from knives made by gun manufacturers because a lot of times they kind of cheap out. Hey, Ostank! Glad you can make it. A lot of gun manufacturers tend to cheap out on their knives. They kind of like go the super cheap. We'll get whatever stock cheap knife we can get for bulk and then slap our name on it. Remington's not really like that. They make some pretty damn nice knives. They're not the most expensive. They do have some expensive runs, but they make some really nice traditional knives that are pretty inexpensive yet pretty good quality in comparison to a lot of other gun manufacturer knives that you'll see out there. I'm talking to you, Smith & Wesson, and a few others where they'll just take the cheapest thing and slap their name on it. The only other knife or gun manufacturer that I know of that has been putting some care into their knives, but I haven't had a chance to test them out yet because they tend to be a little bit more on the expensive side, like premium knives, would be Sig Sauer. I know Sig Sauer just started a line of knives. I don't know who makes them, but I'm really curious. It's just I know they cost a bundle. But hopefully, at some point in the future, I'll be able to take a look at them. But again, this is a tip, just your standard clip point Remington lockback. This one has a blade length of 2.5 inches. Again, it is a lockback. I might have to do some cleaning in that well. Just remember, this is called a well. But other than that, not bad shape. Pretty nice. Probably 440 stainless steel is my guess. They don't always stamp it out. They usually just say stainless steel. But it's probably anyway. It could probably be anywhere from like a 420 or 440. Normally, it's like a 440A stainless steel. Good snap on that. Pretty cool knife for pretty cheap. Used it or bought it to get into a giveaway. Didn't win the giveaway, but no regrets. Still came away with a really cool knife. Okay, I think we've got the last soft package here. Well, almost the last soft package. I'm hanging on to one for reasons. This one is from, I think I've purchased one and opened one before on the channel. This one's from Higtra. I think this is only the second knife I might have bought from him. I can feel he really stuffed the padding in here. Oh, yes, I am utilizing your spreadsheet. Of course I'm using it. It's a handy tool, especially since I've got like over 200 knives. Oh my God, I'm going to cut myself again. This is just, really? I mean, I'm going to be a saw blade. There. Well, that's well protected. Basically, it looks like he took a few bubble envelopes and decided to make a burrito. As difficult as it is to get through some of these packages, I can't complain because that means that whatever is in here is pretty safe, even from me. Alexa, shut up. Really? Okay. I'm gonna lose a finger. I already poked myself once. Don't need to poke myself again. And this knife mat isn't a self-healing mat, so I'm trying to be careful. I do have a self-healing mat underneath. So I'm trying not to cut into my little mouse pad mat. I could have sworn I just changed the blade on this thing. There's just so many layers. Ew. Is there a garbage bag in there? Did I just cut the top off? I think there's a garbage bag in there. Yes, your random urge to make a stupid spreadsheet is being used. Okay, there's got to be another way for me to get in this thing. Let's do it this way. I know there's a box in there. I just didn't want to cut it this way because I didn't want to cut into the box, but I don't think I have a choice. This is, oh yeah, there is a garbage bag that I cut in. Okay, so he wrapped it in bubble wrap packaging, a garbage bag. And what the hell did I buy? The hell did I buy that required this much protection? I mean, it was because he didn't have a box. Again, can't complain too much. Other than the fact that I can't get to it. Okay. I think we got to the gooey center. Oh! I don't have too many of these. This one, how much did I pay for this one? I got this one for 18 bucks. This is a Stoneworks Rough Rider. Is this what I think it is? It is. Oh, everything's weird. There we go. Center. Stoneworks Lady's Leg. A lady's leg I had yet to collect. And he had one. And of course, what's the first thing I'm going to do? Bid like an idiot. I've been working on completing my ladies' leg collection. Just another one to add to it. The Stoneworks is really cool because the amount of different stones that you have that make up the scales for this knife. It's not going to be really any different than any of the other lady legs that I have. It's the same size. I think I've seen other manufacturers that make bigger ones or a bigger one. I forgot who makes it though. I know Queen. I've seen some lady legs made by Queen. I forgot the other manufacturer I've seen them from. But I'm just really interested in the hell? Is that my skin or is that no? It's plastic. I'm really just interested in the Rough Riders, although I'll probably pick up maybe a Queen at some point just for shits and giggles. But I really do love the stone. I'm pretty sure that's well, it's not really stone. I think that's abalone. I don't know what the blue. I don't even know what these stones are. Looks like abalone or abalone, white abalone. I don't know what else. But it's really pretty. Eagle Scout, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I can't get enough of these lady legs, though. I forgot. It's like under a 3-inch blade. Good snap on that one. Sexy as all get out. I've got a bunch of lady legs now, but I'm working on trying to get a display for all of them. I kind of want to make like a lady leg caterpillar. At some point, but I want to get like a little glass display that I could put them all in. I don't know what it is. It's just because they're so weird that is what the my initial reason for collecting all of these. Turquoise. It was just the fact that they just seemed so unique. I mean, like I don't know what the idea was behind this, other than whoever designed this was really into. I mean, I'm a leg man myself, but I would never have thought of like making a lady leg knife. But really cool. We'll polish this up later, and actually, We'll polish that up later. We'll go over a lot of these knives, and you'll see what I go through to add them to my collection. I know I've shown it last week, but I can do that while we chat, talk about whatever. Okay, so that was from Higtra. And let me put that away. Okay, we're going to start on the boxes now. This one, oh, not going to open that one. I do have some special stuff that I do want to show you guys. I do have some stuff that did not come from Whatnot that I want to unbox because they're pretty. But we're going to save those for last. Excuse me. Sorry for the coughing. This next one is from a guy on Whatnot named Joey Pett. This is the first one I've purchased from him. And like me, he likes to use a relatively liberal amount of packing tape. It's not like a burrito. So that's one thing. Okay, well that ripped. Let's get this box open. All right, what do we have? We have a, oh, I remember what these are. This has a little story to it. Okay. They're all wrapped up in bubble wrap. These aren't modern folders, but thanks to somebody, and now he's not in here, so I can't give him shit. But thanks to I'm going to call him a good friend of mine now, because he's just been a really nice guy. He's on Whatnot. We just happened to end up meeting in the same auctions, and now we're on. There's a Discord for Titan knives, and we both frequent that Discord. Just he was in the show. I think I made him a mod during the one auction that I ran, Amnesty. He immediately got a hold of me when he saw these. And of course, what do? I spend money. So, but he saw this because of, let me make sure this is the right one. Now, these are not folding knives. These are fixed blades. Oh my God, I have packing bubble wrap for days. Oh, get in there. How much did I pay for this? $300. No, I didn't. Yeah, $20. I don't even know if this is the right one. Oh no, this is the right one. This is how I know it's the right one. There's a squirrel on the sheath. And what we have here, there we go. We have a fixed blade Damascus. This is a Skinner gut hook. We've got a gut hook in the back here. Okay. Damascus steel. And it's got a squirrel stamped out of it. And of course, I could not ignore that. Now, from what I understand, this is a true Damascus. I don't know who exactly manufactured this, because I'm pretty sure Joey Pett has these manufactured for him. But it is a true Damascus from what I understand. I don't know the steels that are used to make up the Damascus, but I do like the raindrop patterning. And how the heck am I gonna ignore a squirrel stamp on a knife? I kind of had to. I'm not really that big into gut hook knives either, but I couldn't ignore it. We got a little lanyard attached to the back. Looks like leather braid. That's kind of neat. And I don't know what kind of stone. Looks like jade handle, but it's really smooth. That's like really comfortable. I'm really impressed with the feel. That's a nice feeling handle. But yeah, the only reason is the squirrel. I couldn't ignore it. Thanks, Amnesty, if you see this, for making me spend money. He let me know. Maybe it's better if I do it this way. He brought my attention to it. He happened to be in the show, and he's like, "You got to see this." And I'm like, "What?" And looked at it, and I'm like, "Damn you! There goes my wallet." But yeah, I couldn't ignore it. Now, interesting thing about this. Apparently, I don't know if he wasn't running a very long show that day. but from the sounds of it, he hadn't been making that many sales that day. I doubt I was the only one to buy anything, because he could have been running for hours, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea how long he was running his show. I don't know how many people purchased. Okay. But apparently he'd been having a slow day. It's very possible I might have been the only person to buy a knife. That's a possibility. Either way, I bought this knife. Okay, and then I hung out for a little bit because I wanted to see what else he had. He had some interesting stuff. And I guess after my purchase, he was going to call it for the day. So he decided to run a buyer's giveaway. So anybody that bought a knife during that show could be entered in the giveaway, and they have a chance of winning something extra. I was the only one in the giveaway. He basically said that I was going to be the only one in there. He set up a buyer's giveaway, said, get in the giveaway. So I did. I was the only name in the giveaway. And so he's like, okay, gonna run it. And I just watched my name flip up on that giveaway several times. And then, boom, obviously I won. I mean, it would have been interesting if I hadn't, because I was the only one there. But so I won that giveaway. And what I ended up with, I'm going to put this back up in here. They do this because it's supposedly, some people say that leather sheaths can sometimes speed up the corrosion of a knife, but there's a lot of debate on that. But a lot of people will wrap them in plastic. Anyway, that's a side point. So I won the giveaway, and I ended up winning this. I won bubble wrap. Is this taped? No, it's just got a adhesive on it. Okay, I ended up winning this, if I can get it out of here. And it was another fixed blade. That should be pretty obvious. But then, oh, okay, it does have. I thought it was a chicken or something. It has a deer on it. So I ended up being the only one in a giveaway to get another one. And this one apparently is a bone, or it's either a bone or antler handle. I'm gonna guess antler, which is actually really nice. Like a stag bone antler. Also a gut hook, as you can see. And this one has a deer cutout on it. Same, yeah, the bubble wrap is worth it. Same raindrop, or I don't know, I think they call that raindrop Damascus. But the reason why I couldn't remember, and because he had several knives that were similar to this that he was selling, and the only one I remember seeing, the only other one I remember seeing was some type of like bird on the blade. So I couldn't remember what I had won in the giveaway. When I thought back to it, I couldn't remember what I had won in the giveaway. And the only other one other than the squirrel I remember seeing was like some type of duck or something. So I thought it could be a chicken. I don't know. I couldn't remember. Somebody mentioned deer. I can't remember who, but I would have been happy. I would have been happy with a chicken. I just couldn't remember what the giveaway was. But that is really, really cool. Again, with a leather braided lanyard. That handle is freaking fantastic. It's got to be like stag, bone, whatever. But that's really cool. Again, not the biggest one on gun hook knives, but this is a neat knife, and especially the squirrel. I love the handle on this one. But I thought that was an interesting story with this one, that I ended up being the only one in a giveaway, which seems to be the only way I'm winning. I've been winning giveaways is if I'm like the only one in there. I've hit kind of a dry spell with these giveaways. I've won a couple of things, a few smaller things, but I think I've hit kind of a dry spell. I haven't really won much of anything. I've won some stuff for my girlfriend. She's got a crazy collection of these like little, they call them labubus or labubu type figurines and plushies, and we've now got several because she wanted a specific one. And these things are expensive. I mean, some of these Labubus are going for like $60-$70 on up. And so my intention was I'm just going to try and win one through a giveaway to get her. Easier said than done. Now we have a bunch of them. A bunch of types that aren't exactly the ones she wanted, although they're all still really cute in her opinion. And some of them I actually find kind of neat. So we've kind of inadvertently started a collection of those when she only wanted like a couple. But this was from, who did I say this was from? Joey Pet. Joey Pet. Really cool knives. Thank you, Amnesty, if you can hear me, for making me spend money on that. You son of a... Anyway. Okay, so we got that. Now we're going to go on to the boxes. We've got that one. We've got this one. Oh, I gotta open this one next. There's a reason why I have to open this one next. Oh, wait, no. I forgot. I have another soft package from Chasing Blades. Oh, wait, no. We'll save that. There's a reason I want to save that. This one I want to open now because this is from... We've opened a box from these guys before. You've won how many givvies? You've won 0 givvies. Keep at it, Morgan. You'll win something. Maybe you'll win some eyelashes like I did. Anyway, this one is from Appalachian Freeze-Dried Knives. Fantastic guy. Has some really good stuff. And the coolest thing about him is, he has probably some of the best prices when it comes to knives that you can... Hey, Night's Edge, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Appalachian Freeze-Dried Knives has probably some of the best prices you can find on Whatnot for knives. Because while he's a collector, he just finds the selling of knives, like, that's like a fun thing for him to do. So he's not out to like sink anybody. And I've done my own checking on a lot of the knives that he sells. And he is right there with either retail, like the actual retail cost, what you would find on other websites. His prices are either right in line with them or even a little lower. So that's one of the coolest things. I mean, he's, other than the fact that he's just a genuinely nice guy. He's a super nice guy. But his prices are not only great, but he also does freeze-dried candy. And I've opened a box from him before. I had to get more. So this is from Appalachian Freeze-Dried Knives. And I think I have a knife or two in here as well. I'm pretty sure this is not just all candy. Although I wouldn't be unhappy if it was. So let's get this box open. Oh, we got a letter. Hey, thank you so much for everything. He really is one of the nicest guys on Whatnot. And there you go, Appalachia Freeze-Dried Knives. And peanuts. Oh my God, I'm going to make a mess. There's peanuts everywhere. Peanuts. I'm enunciating right, because it sounded for a second not like what I said. Okay, we've got in here... Oh, I didn't order these. What are these? He also likes to throw in extra stuff. Chicken bacon ranch stuffed crust pizzas. What? Ooh. Thanks for the like, Night's Edge. Appreciate it. Stay for a while. We're having some fun. I'm unboxing Whatnot auction wins, and plus a few other purchases I made that weren't on Whatnot, and just having fun. I might be going over sharpening. Who knows what I'll go over after this. Anyway, Appalachia Freeze-Dried Knives also likes to throw in little extras. Yeah, you buy a knife from him, sometimes you'll walk away with not only the knife, but you'll find some candy tossed in. And like I said, he freeze-dries a lot of things, but I think on Whatnot, he likes to sell freeze-dried candy. I'm guessing these are freeze-dried lollipops. Okay, we're gonna find out. This is how I get diabetes. This is totally how I get diabetes. I can because I did not, or I know I didn't order these. This is not something I was expecting. So this is a freebie he tossed in, a little thank you. He's really good about that too. Gonna. Nope, regular Ooh, that's good. It's a regular lollipop. It might have been freeze dried, but I don't think it's changed anything. Oh, I think that's blueberry. Okay, not a freeze dried knife. It's just a lollipop, but yummy. I just realized I have nowhere to put this lollipop. Where's my girlfriend? On. Lollipop.
No, I don't want it.
No, I'll fine. I'll grab a paper plate. You can probably hear that. I had to run into another room. Oh, there's a, okay. Got a paper plate. I just didn't want to stick this and have the lollipop roll around somewhere. And then find it days later attached to something I didn't want it attached to. That's a good lollipop, though. Okay. Cool little treat. That was a freebie. I still got a bunch of... Oh, okay. I'm guessing this is a knife. So we've got at least one knife there. What else did I get? Oh, I had to get another one of these. It's a freeze-dried mint chocolate chip ice cream sandwich. It was the first thing I've ever bought from Appalachia. And it was friggin' delicious. I had to get another one. A lot of his candies are actually relatively inexpensive. This one's a little bit on the more expensive side, especially if it's like the only thing you get. I mean, shipping and stuff. Like, I think I paid $4 for this, but still worth it. Oh, so worth it. Oh, that's the other thing I bought. These are, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Airheads, but those are freeze-dried Airheads. And I've been wanting to try that. And then, okay, so we got freeze-dried Airheads, and then freeze-dried taffy. And this was, I think, during the 4th of July weekend. And so I think he just called this, like red, white, and blue taffy. I don't know if there was a particular flavor associated with that taffy, but freeze-dried taffy. This stuff, my girlfriend has gotten freeze-dried taffy from, I think, somebody else, and it was really good. I'm not going to open the sandwich, but I'm going to open. We suddenly turned from a knife channel to a candy channel. I don't know how that happened. I want to try one of the Airheads. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Airheads. They're kind of a chewy candy. Kind of like a chewy Starburst in a way, I guess, or taffy. But again, these are air dried, so they turn puffy and crispy. They kind of blow up. And I did used to like Airheads a lot. Patriotic pack, thank you. Oh, that's good. It's weird because when you're used to a candy that you've had for a very long time, I don't know what to call an Airhead. I don't know what to compare an Airhead to. Shut up. I just know they're chewy. But when you've had a candy for a long time, you're very familiar with the taste, the texture, like how they feel in your mouth and stuff. And it's weird because you have that exact same taste, but the texture is so different. It kind of throws your brain for a loop a bit. Kind of like how these freeze-dried taffies are going to be like. She got these cotton candy flavored taffies that were freeze-dried. And it was so weird because it was cotton candy flavored, except it was in like a really airy, light, crunchy, I don't know, thing. But it tasted like cotton candy. And then when it finished and dissolved in your mouth, you had the feeling like you just ate toffee. So it was like three different things melded into one. It was really weird, but really cool. No, this is a taffy, their patriotic pack. I don't know what flavor this is going to be, but it's that same feeling. At first, it has like a soft, almost chalky, like not taste, but a chalky, like a soft chalk feeling. But you get this burst of sweetness. I don't know what flavor this is, but it's good. And then it melts in your mouth like cotton candy. And then when it's done melting in your mouth, it feels like you just finished eating some taffy. It's really good. And really dangerous because it's kind of hard not to eat these things every now and then. You don't even have to chew and crunch it. It just melts like cotton candy. Anyway. Okay, I gotta stop. I gotta put these in a box. Hold on. Otherwise, I'm just gonna stare at them the whole damn time. Okay, we got two knives from Appalachia. This one, I'm not sure I'm gonna open up out of the packaging. But one of the things I really think are cool, one of the things I always thought was really interesting is if you've ever seen the old American bomber planes, I'd like to say World War II. I don't know the era. I'm just gonna say World War II. So, don't kill me for getting like years wrong. Oh, maybe I will open this because what the hell, why not? I'm just gonna say World War II because I can't remember the years. But bomber planes around that area or around that era, where a lot of times they were painted with pinup girls and the like. They were painted with like a lot of times there were pinup girls. There are other graphics as well. But I always loved the artwork that they put on these bomber planes. And I saw this one on Appalachia's show. It's from Novelty Knife Company. They make a lot of novelty like knives. They're not very expensive. Quality is they're okay. They're not like I'd put them around maybe at a little level below like Rough Rider. But I don't think they're meant to be like hard use knives. They're more meant as an actual novelty, something neat to own and look at and like a conversation piece. But this one is a Bombshell Barlow Pinup Girls, and there's a few of these, and I plan on grabbing more as soon as I get them. But they all have a similar type of pinup graphic on them, like you would see on the old. Oh, they even show. There you go. I didn't realize that the packaging. They even show like pilots. They look like they're with a bomber in the background. I can see the cockpit here. But they all have different type. I forgot how many different types of these Barlows that Novelty Knife Company makes. I would have grabbed. He had two of them on his show, and I was hoping to grab both, but he was using one as a giveaway. So as soon as he put this up, I snagged that quickly, and I did tell him I do want the other ones. But this is a Barlow, and you can see the graphic. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. This is not like something I plan on reselling. This is stuff that's going into my collection. So I don't have a problem opening these up. Like I said, I don't generally buy stuff to resell. If I buy something, it's generally going to be for my collection. And I do kind of want to preserve the card that's in here, though, because I think that's kind of neat. Oh, looks like a bomb. I don't know if there's a different. No, it's the same graphic on both sides. Okay. Yeah, I do kind of want to preserve this, though. This is a Barlow. You got 2 blades on this one. Now, same graphic on either side. You think pinups are only World War II, World War I? They were dropping grenades from the backseat. But I always thought, yeah, these are look at me knives. These were, I mean, I don't think they're, I mean, they could be used. I mean, they are sharp. Novelty, it's not like Novelty Knife Company makes bad knives. So I could see using this for various purposes. Actually, it's got a pretty good snap. You got 2 blades, like I was just showing you. We have what they tend to call a California clip point, and then they have a smaller, I'm going to call that, looks more like a sheep's foot. Or drop point or sheep's foot. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm gonna lean with sheep's foot. This one actually feels pretty robust. Don't know what type of steel. More than likely 440 stainless, either 420 or 440 stainless. More than likely 440, probably 440A. Now for the graphic, you have the graphic underneath a clear acrylic scale. And like I said, I know they have different pinup graphics. I like, for some odd reason, the number 4 sticks out to me. They might have like 4 different graphics to this series, but I just thought they were really neat. I love pinup art. I just think they're awesome looking. They're sexy. They're, I don't know, American history. And this I thought was just a really cool thing to nab. Really good snap on this one too. And ooh, that is sharp. That, ooh, I almost ran my thumb a little too hard across that. That it. Okay. Hold on. I'm about to eat my words in regards to whether these are usable. I mean, I know they're usable knives, but let's see something here. That, after I ran my thumb over that edge, yeah, no question. Yeah, these are made to be used. They're just really pretty. I love the graphic on them, but nice sharp blade. Yeah, eating my words. I just don't know if I'd carry it, only because I love the artwork on it. And I wouldn't want anything on it. You know, I wouldn't want anything to mess it up, even though they are protected by a clear acrylic. I've seen knives similar to this where they had some type of graphic under clear acrylic, and a lot of times, you know, you drop them and the clear acrylic is the first thing that usually ends up cracking or breaking. So I don't know if this is something that I'd really carry around with me, but that's not to say that it's not fully capable of being used. That you saw that blade was pretty damn sharp, cut through that paper really easily, no snags, but really cool little collector's piece. You have returned and was summoned. Welcome back, Eagle Scout. So that's a neat one from Novelty Knife Company and Appalachia Freeze Dried Knives. I do have another one here, another one or two. This feels weird. No box on this one. What else did I pick up? I know I picked up another knife. I just can't. Oh, haha! This one is a modern. This is a Civivi that I'm not sure if they make anymore. I have to look this up. It's a Picaro. Let me check the website. Hold on a second, and then we'll look deeper at this one. What was their website? No, it's Civivi something. But I'm beginning to wonder if this is one that they didn't make. They no longer make, and you might still be able to find them. Yes, these have been discontinued, according to Civivi's own website, and they might still have some floating around. I don't know if this is one you can find on Amazon. I'll take a look. Okay, I'm not seeing one on Amazon. So it looks like the only places you're going to find this one is probably on auction sites, or if some place happens to have some new old stock. Can you still get these from Savivi though? No, this one apparently is discontinued and no longer in stock at Savivi. Price at the time from Savivi's own website is $67 according to them. So this is a Savivi Picaro. And let me get rid of this stuff here. This one I picked up from Appalachia. This one, unfortunately, like I said, discontinued. This has, let's see, we got thumb holes. We got thumb studs. So let's see how. Ooh, nice and smooth. We got a blackened blade. I believe D2 steel. Yep, I see a D2 marking there. Right by the pivot. So we got a D2 steel blackened drop point blade, really generous sized thumb hole, and not too aggressive thumb studs. It's a liner lock, as you can see there. And let's see. Oh, I can't flick from the thumb hole anyway. Thumb studs are there, might as well use that. But really smooth blade movement on that one. Nice, generous finger choil. You can choke up on that blade really easily. A very generous handle. How big is this one? This looked, maybe he has bigger hands than I do. But we've got a 4-inch, 4-inch blade on this guy. And we've got a relatively deep carry pocket clip on this one. It is interchangeable. No back liner. But you got some spacers in there. I like it when they're open like this, because especially if it's a knife that I carry with me, because it makes it just so much easier to clean inside, as opposed to having a back liner that a lot of stuff tends to get stuck into. And unlike a lot of liner locks, I do like that the liner lock comes out quite a bit. I'm not having to fight and get my nail in there to get to that liner lock. It makes it a lot easier to unlock the blade. Nice weight to it. How heavy is this thing? It's a 4-inch blade. This one, let's see here. We're looking at 3.95 ounces. So not too bad on the weight side. It's a heavier knife, but not very heavy. And did I ever get the full length on this one? Because we said 4-inch blade. What do we have? Full length on this baby. Now this is unfortunately not something I'll probably end up carrying around with me, because simply because the length of the blade being 4 inches, we have just a hair over 9 inches long on this one when fully extended. But like I was saying, we do have blade length restrictions in my state in a lot of areas, so this is probably not one I'm going to carry. But regardless, really nice one to add to the collection, especially since it's one that doesn't look like I'd be able to pick up anymore since it's been discontinued. But that would be the Savivi Picaro. Pretty sweet. I do like the color. I have way too many black and green knives. So this is nice. That is nice. That's a pretty damn good pickup from Appalachia. I mean, aside from just the candy. So let's put those away. We still got more boxes, so I still got more to go through. The last one that I'll open, this one is from Titan. Now, you've heard Titan before. I've opened quite a few things from Titan. I haven't gotten anything from Titan in a while. So I'm finally happy to get back on the Titan train and get a new knife. A lot of the knives I gotten from Titan were the Damascus fixed blade knives. I've gotten a few folders from them as well, and all of those were Damascus. I've got what they call the pizza cutter, which is like almost like a mini axe, or mini handled axe, which is really cool. I've got a Ulu kitchen knife that's currently in my kitchen. This is the latest one I got from him, and this one is a little. Oh my god, he likes to throw freebies in. Oh, that's cool. Okay, let me make sure I'm not throwing anything else away. Oh, that's cool. Okay, he likes to throw freebies in when you buy from him, or at least I've been getting freebies anyway. And it looks like I've got a Damascus steel bracelet. Oh, that's cool. So we got a Damascus steel bracelet. That's neat. And close that up a little bit. I've got tiny wrists. Well, that's pretty cool. Just a simple band of Damascus steel. One of the more popular things that he's got, like a lot of the people that frequent his show, just like these little simple things because it's a little sample of the Damascus they use. They also have these little eggs that they sell every once in a while that tend to sell really fast as soon as he puts them out. But I love the Damascus pattern on this. Now, if this is a true Damascus steel, I forgot what steel they use. I'd like to say it's like a 1095 or 1099. And I forgot what else. I forgot the other steel. But they are true Damascus. Really neat. Put that there. But what I got, the last one I got from him actually isn't a Damascus knife. It's one of the very few knives that I got from him that isn't Damascus. I don't remember the steel on this, but it's a really nicely polished blade. Where did I put my cloths? Hold on a second. Okay. Nicely polished. Oh, have a good one, Ostank. This one, it's a high carbon steel. I know that. So it's not a stainless steel. So this is one that I'm going to have to keep well oiled, well maintained. But I fell in love with this bone handle. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And this feels so good in the hand. Smooth, really well formed handle. No sharp edges that I can feel. Let's see. Yeah, pretty smooth all around. Oh, and the finger grooves cut into the handle fit. Oh, they fit me perfect. That's awesome. And I saw the handle on one of his shows, and normally, like I said, most of his stuff tends to be Damascus steel. A lot of the Damascus steel is what he sells. But I just fell in love with the handle, and then the very, shiny mirror polished blade. I had to have this one. Absolutely gorgeous fixed blade knife. How sharp is that? Ooh. I know when you buy a knife from him, at least from the auctions, he tends to take greater care, and a lot of times he'll go over and do kind of like a speed sharpening and polishing on the blade before he sends it out. And he did a number on this one. He did a really nice number on this one. Where's my actual polishing cloth? Because I think I've got a lot of oil on that cloth there. And I just realized I mucked up my screens and I can't see chat. So I have no idea if you guys are saying anything. There we go. So I want to polish this off a little better so we can see the mirror shine a little better. I don't know how it comes across on the camera, but that is an absolutely beautiful blade. Really nicely polished. That is so cool. I'm back in the Titan game. I've missed getting knives from him. And his knives are the only knives that I really haven't added to my spreadsheet yet, which is why I know I'm over. With the knives that I have currently in the spreadsheet, what am I at? I am, not that it's a contest or anything, but I believe I'm at 195 knives. And if I were to add these into it, and that's not including any of the knives that I just got, so I'm already past 200. But I'm getting close to probably around 225, maybe 225, 250. I need to find more room. 200 knives and a bracelet. There we go. Absolutely beautiful knife from Titan Knives. If you ever go on Whatnot and you're looking for some unique stuff, and Damascus, he is the one person I recommend for that stuff. And then when you purchase from him, you also get, from what I'm told, you get free lifetime sharpening if you have any problems, lifetime warranty. So correct me if I'm wrong if it's not lifetime, but I'm pretty sure it is. You can always check with them. They're actually somewhat local to me, so it's pretty cool. That is really, really neat. And a really cool leather sheath as well. Really form-fitting. This one can go horizontally or vertically, left or right-handed, depending on how you move the loop. Pretty sweet stuff from Titan Knives. All right. That's kind of almost it for the auctions. I have two other packages here. One is actually from, it's kind of from Whatnot and kind of not from Whatnot. And I'll open that one next. This one is from a Whatnot seller named Chasing Blades. And the reason why I say this is kind of from Whatnot and not from Whatnot is because one of the items that I got from him, you can't purchase through Whatnot. Chasing Blades has their own website. I'd like to say it was called Unwavering Blades. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. He probably has a card in there somewhere, but I want to make sure I have this right. Uh-oh. I don't know where it's at. I might have to check my email. Okay, so I cannot remember the name of his website. Shit. Hopefully he'll have a card in here. Either way, what I'm trying to get at is he has a website that is his virtual storefront. And so there are knives that you're not allowed to buy through Whatnot for legal reasons. And those knives, obviously, since he can't sell on Whatnot, he has his own website, and you can purchase them through that website. But because he's also a Whatnot seller, he combined everything from the website store that I purchased and from an auction. He just combined them all in one package. So this is kind of from Whatnot and kind of not. It just made shipping for him a lot easier. Okay. And we've got a couple things from him. One of which I know is a Rough Rider. And one is a knife slip. Okay, I'll make sure I got that on there. All right. First thing I'm going to show you, we got a knife slip. This is the second one I got from him. These are really handy little leather pouches you can put knives into. And what they're used for is the leather just helps protect the knife from getting scratched up. I have another one, where is it, that I actually use and have a knife in already. So I don't have to open that one up. This is the exact same slip. I use this for my doctor's knife when I carry it with me. But what you do is, if you have like a traditional knife that you want to carry around with you, you can put it into one of these knife slips, and then you can just stick the whole thing in your pocket. And what this does is it just protects the knife from getting scratched up by anything else that you have in your pocket. Like if you carry a lot of coins, keys, and other stuff in the same pocket, this prevents it from getting all like messed up in there. And then when you need it, you just pop your knife out, use the knife, put it back in, and you're good to go. It's back in your pocket. But I have a bunch of these knife slips. They've come in super handy in a lot of occasions, just because that way they're not getting completely messed up in my pocket when I'm carrying a knife. The other extra thing that he tossed this one in here for free when I bought the knife off his website. Bottle of Flitz polish. You're probably familiar with this stuff. Probably some of the best polish you can get for polishing up your jewelry, your cutlery, things like that. He gave me a little bottle of that. That was really kind of him. The first one I'm going to show you, excuse me, this is what I got from him on auction. This one is a Rough Rider Appaloosa. And this is a doctor's knife. First of all, doctor's knives tend to be one of my favorite patterns when it comes to traditional knives because they're thin, making them super easy to carry. And different doctor's knives they'll have different like configurations. In this case, this has a single blade. I've got doctor's knives with a single blade and a spatula, and this blade is just under 3 inches long, which makes it something that I'd be able to carry. Some, a little bit more rarely, some doctor's knives come with 2 knives. I've got one of those as well. I just have a thing for doctor's knives, trapper knives, which generally have 2 blades. They're a little bigger in the handle area, and some unique stuff like the lady's legs. The reason why I wanted to jump on this one is this is a Spades Black Appaloosa, and I just think that I believe these are bone scales on this one, and with a spade shield. And I just think they're absolutely gorgeous. This one's a black Appaloosa. I think they come also in a pink Appaloosa. And no 2 scales are going to look the same. That black, or in the pink Appaloosa's case, the pink, all come in different patterns, and they all look absolutely beautiful in my opinion. Nice, large, I believe nickel bolsters. And yeah, just a standard doctor's knife. You got a half stop there. Like I said, under 3-inch blade. Very simple knife, very easy to carry. Would fit perfectly in that same slip that I just showed you with the other doctor's knife that I had in there, also by Rough Rider. I just love these. It's a very, very pretty pattern. Oh, you might lose power? Uh-oh, that's not good. Yeah, I love these Appaloosa knives. I'd love to get my hands on some of the pink ones too, because they're absolutely beautiful knives. But we got that. Now, this is the knife. This is one of the knives I've been waiting to get. This didn't come from Whatnot, and I'm trying to emphasize that it did not come from Whatnot, because I know you're not able to sell these on Whatnot. I'm going to sniffle here. Oh my god. Yeah, my allergies are kicking. So I did not purchase this again from Whatnot. I did purchase this, however, from his website, which unfortunately is not appearing on. Okay, you know what? I know where I can find it. I did take a screenshot. And okay, let me see if I can find the website from the screenshot. That's not it. Oh, okay. I was thinking something wrong. Okay, it's not Unwavering Blades. His website is unwaverengendeavors.com. So it's Unwavering Endeavors, all one word, .com. That's the website I purchased. That's the website he runs in conjunction with Whatnot. And there's a reason why you can't purchase this knife on Whatnot. Let me open up, or let me fix my computer screens here for a sec. Okay. This is a Cobra Tech knife. And the reason why you can't sell this on Whatnot is because it is an automatic knife. Now, here we have, looks like, signature build card. Okay. They do have a lifetime warranty. I think lifetime sharpening as well on these cards. Registration card must be completed within 30 days, or registration must be completed within 30 days. And yeah, I will be filling out that warranty. But this is made of abalone. And like I said, this is an automatic knife. We have a pocket clip that is not reversible. But you can see here, very pretty abalone pattern. Where's that polishing cloth again? I keep losing this cloth. How do I keep losing this cloth? There you are. Because I'm fingerprinting the hell out of this thing. And let's shine that up a little bit. Steel bolsters. There we go. That's a little better. A nasty fingerprints all over this thing. But a beautiful abalone scale and under acrylic. But I love the colors on this thing. So many different colors. Absolutely beautiful shine. I'll definitely be doing another separate video on this one. But this is absolutely gorgeous. Now, the thing about this knife, like I said, it is an automatic. They call it a hidden, is it a hidden bolster? Wow, I should have been more prepared for this one. Where's their website? There we are. I want to make sure I've got all the information correct on this one. Cobra knives. Hidden release. Cobra Trapper hidden release. And they are currently out of stock on these. They do have different versions of these available at varying price points, like with different scales. Like they have one with snakewood scales. They have one, I think, with some other types they have. I could have sworn they had one that was like their least expensive one had I think G10 scales with D2 steel. I could be wrong. Oh no, it's a black bone scale. Never mind. It's black bone scales with D2 steel, and that's I think their least expensive one, which is $80. This one is about roughly $129.99. I did get a deal on this one, so I did get it for a little bit less. I think the snakewood version is actually their most expensive at like $180, and I believe also that the prices are supposed to be going up from Cobra Tech, so I got this at a really good time. But this is called a hidden release knife, and the way this one works is you notice there's no button. There's no locking mechanism that you can see here. Okay. The way this works is, oh, if I can do it. I'm not sure how to do it. There we go. It's an automatic knife, and the mechanism for activating the knife is actually in the bolster. And you can see here, there's a separate cut. If I can barely point it out. That bolster has its own little cut here. And what you do is you take your thumb and you kind of push the bolster this way. And then that releases the knife, and the knife automatically flips out. And then it does lock. So there is a positive lock to this knife. Once it's out, it locks in its open position. No blade play. This is cool. No blade play whatsoever. Or at least I'm not feeling any. I'm not getting any blade play in that. So it is now locked in the open position. And the steel on this blade is a 154 cm, really nice steel. I believe it's just a hair over 3 inches. Yeah, like a 3 1/4 of an inch length blade. Full length on this one is just about, right about 7.5 inches full length. And to close the blade up, what you need to do is it's the same movement. You take your thumb, you place it on the bolster, you move it in that direction away from the well, and then you can fold the blade down, and then it locks in place once you let go of the bolster. So that is really, really cool. I thought this was Did I lose my sound? Oh my god, what's the last thing you heard? Did my mic turn off? Oh, my mic died. Hold on. Did I forget to charge this mic? I've got a second mic, thankfully, as soon as I remember where I put it. What was the last thing you guys heard? I don't know what the last thing you guys heard was. But apparently my mic shut off. I thought I charged these things. Hold on, let me grab my other one. I'm gonna blip out again. Closing the last knife. Which was closing the last knife? Which one? This one here? I'm gonna blip out real quick. Oh yeah, battery died on this one. Hold on. Okay. I put my other mic on with a charged battery. Ugh. So I was closing this knife here, and then you guys didn't hear a thing. So I was just like waving it around with no sound. Well, I'll go over it again. That's fine. I was just saying that it's a really cool find. You can't buy these on Whatnot because they're not allowed in the auctions. However, you can buy it from their Chasing Blade's website, Unwavering Endeavors. Again, his website is Unwavering Endeavors. That's the only way you'll be able to get your hands on one of these automatics. You can't get them on auction because of varying state laws in regards to automatic knives. But I was saying they do have others. They have a lesser expensive one made with a bone handle, a black bone handle. And I think that one runs like $80. But I was talking about how that particular one comes with a D2 steel and that I prefer the 154 CM. There's nothing wrong with D2 steel except for the fact that D2 steel just needs a little bit more care because it's a semi stainless steel. So there's a bigger chance that if it's not well taken care of, it can corrode, it can rust. Not saying that it'll just immediately rust. It's just a matter of making sure that when you're done using a knife made out of D2 steel, that you just make sure you immediately wipe off any fingerprints, keep it clean, keep it oiled or waxed. And as long as you're taking good care of the knife, D2 steel is perfectly fine. I just prefer the 154 CM steel that this one comes in. I have my eyeball on the snakewood version of this one, which is a wooden handled or wooden scaled version that also comes in 154 CM. But otherwise, same exact type of knife with the hidden release system. But I love these things. Unfortunately, the abalone, they are out of stock. I don't know what you caught, but they are out of stock of the abalone ones. I actually purchased the second to last one, and as soon as I purchased mine, somebody else went and snagged the second one off the website. So they are out of stock. I don't know when they're going to get these back. But Cobra Tech so far pretty impressive. They have many other types of knives as well on the website. More of your more typical automatic knives like OTF knives and things like that. This one I like because it had a very traditional look to it. Not to mention the fact that the abalone is just absolutely beautiful. And I love this hidden release system. But these knives are made by Cobra Tech, purchased on Unwavering Endeavors website, owned by Chasing Blades. So there we go. Okay, hopefully you heard all that and you didn't lose any of it. But thank you for letting me know there was no sound. I have no idea how long I was going. All right. We have one last box to open up. And this one is not from an auction website. Oops, almost forgot this stuff. This one is not from an auction website. This is from Blade City. Now, Blade City also does do auctions on Whatnot. So you will see Blade City on Whatnot. However, they do also have their own website. And this was a purchase from the website. Reason why I purchased this one from the website, it's not because I couldn't get it or there's a problem with getting it through Whatnot. The only problem I have with getting it through Whatnot is every time somebody brings these up to sell, I keep getting outbid. So I had the hardest time trying to get my hands on one of these knives because I just simply could not outbid people. People were wanting these like crazy, and with very good reason. Let me open this puppy up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This one, just for some odd reason, is hard to get. A lot of places that I've checked tend to be out of stock. Blade City is one of the few places I've seen that still had it in stock, and their prices are pretty much in line with everybody else. So it's not like I'm getting it at a horrible price because I can't find it anywhere else. But oh, I opened the bottom of this box. But yeah, this one is from, again, Blade City, and this knife is going to be from QSP. Hold on a second. I opened the bottom of this box. I don't know how I did that, but okay. This down here. All right. This one is from QSP. I don't have too many. In fact, I think I only have one other QSP knife. And it was an orange handled flipper that was actually really, really nice. I was really impressed with it. In fact, I have it next to me, just in a case. Let me pull that out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's the only other QSP knife that I own. And there it is. Not hard to pick out. But really neat knife. Small, compact, orange handle, G10 grips. Extremely smooth, quick action, which is the one thing that really stuck out in my head with this thing. It's just got a fantastic action to it. You saw the speed at which that came out with the thumb studs here. It just snaps right out. Really positive lock from the liner lock. And just a overall really nice knife. And so I've been interested in getting another QSP eventually, and then I saw this. Now let me put this one back. And ever since I saw this, they were auctioning them off, and I just really wanted one. And I had trouble getting it on the auction site, so I just went to their website and said, screw it, I'm buying one from there. This, again, is from QSP. This, if we can get it out of here. Oh, we got stickers. Always love stickers. Have a knife day, and the QSP penguin. So cute. This is the QSP dolphin. Greetings. Thank you for choosing QSP knife. We hope you enjoy it. Here are some specifications. Okay, that's cool. I love that. This right here. What is this? Well, this is a tool. What the hell's that for? That's an interesting tool. Not sure what this is for yet. I have a feeling we'll find out soon. But that goes right there. And this is another one that's done in abalone. Oh, this is beautiful. This again is called the QSP Dolphin. Interesting shape. Beautiful abalone scales on this one. And it says, when you look at the description on any website, they say satin, like satin steel. But this is like a mirror polish. I don't know where they're getting the satin from. You got thumb studs to actuate the blade. Same quick feeling like that other QSP. That was smooth. And it is a... Okay, that's weird. I almost said it was a liner lock, but it appears to be like a frame lock. Except it's not cut into the abalone scale. So I don't know if that's considered a liner or a frame. I have no idea. I'm going to say it's a liner lock only because this part of the scale doesn't move, but I mean, you can, I guess you can, what does this say? Okay, so we have obviously thumb studs. Blade length on this one is 3.15 inches long. Okay, they do call it a liner lock. Okay, so it is a liner lock. You've got a lanyard hole here. Handle itself is 4.65 inches long. So the total length on this when it's open is 7.8 inches. They, like I said, they say satin steel blade, but this, oh my God, you can see, there's my camera. There's my phone. That's a mirror polish on this thing. You can barely see the QSP etched right by the thumb stud. Is there anything else on the other side? No. Oh no, there is. 14C 28N steel blade, which is, again, I've said it numerous times. Probably my favorite steel for a budget blade. I wouldn't really call this a budget blade. I think this particular one on their website, if I remember correctly, was roughly about $80. I think these run about 80, which actually for the abalone and such a nice mirror polish, that's not bad at all. That's in fact fantastic. Especially look how beautiful the scales are. This has to be probably one of the prettier knives I own. Absolutely gorgeous scales. It does look like it is abalone and covered by a clear acrylic of some type. Kind of like that last knife, the automatic that I showed. This one just has a lot more of that abalone. And so the patterning on this one is super, super cool. Absolutely beautiful. You can even see where they've had to like patch together some of this abalone in order to fill in this entire scale. I can barely make out some of the cuts. But what's most impressive is that blade. If this is what they call a satin finish, I'd like to see their mirror polish, because that's fantastic. And again, really smooth, nice and quick. How is that? Where's my cloth again? Super solid. No movement on the blade, either up or down, side to side. And I didn't test the last one out. But, where's some magazine paper? There we go. Oh, that is butter. That is sharp. You can kind of tell sometimes, not just only by feel, but even the sound of when it cuts through the paper. Like sometimes a knife still cuts through really easily, but you can still hear like little micro tears as it's cutting through. This one is going through the paper like butter. That is sharp. Oh, what was that? I heard something. Dang, was that my phone? Stop it, phone. Okay. That's nice. Absolutely beautiful. I don't want to. It's so good of a polish. I'm trying to be careful so my ugly mug doesn't make this knife look any, look bad. I don't want to make the knife look bad for the reflection of my face. And really unique shape. Obviously I can get a full grip on this one, and because of the curve, that blade seems to fall forward a little bit more. Now, you don't have much of a finger control. You have a little bit, so you can choke up a little bit on that blade for more precise control over your cutting. That's my ear. You can choke up on that blade a little bit for more precise cutting, but yeah, it's not the I can't really wrap an entire finger around that, but you still get a very generous handle, and it's a unique feeling. I'll be honest, I was a little unsure of this handle simply because of the shape, but now that I have it in my hand, that fits really well. And I kind of like how I'm liking the way it kind of brings the blade forward a bit. You know what it reminds me of? I think Caboose would appreciate this. Um, Count Dooku's lightsabers. That's kind of what it reminds me a little bit of. If you're a fan of Star Wars and you know who Count Dooku is, he had an interesting lightsaber because of the way his lightsaber I guess they call it handle. The way his lightsaber handle was shaped had a interesting curve, kind of like I've seen the curve on some fencing swords, where it curves like this. So when you're holding, in this case, my knife, when you're holding the sword, it's got a curve like that. It kind of naturally becomes an extension of your arm. How dare do I assume that you're a big, because you are. I know you're a big Star Wars fan. I know about this, for crying out loud. I like Star Wars. I'm not like the biggest fan, but I know who Count Dooku is. Um yes, you are a much bigger fan. I'm sorry. I apologize. You're a huge Star Wars geek. Um but yeah, the curve when you're holding this knife, it it kind of brings it in like I don't have to move, I don't have to bend my wrists so much. It brings it, I just have to just a little bit and it's almost perfectly in line with the rest of my arm. And which is a reason why I see a lot of fencing swords. And if you watch Count Dooku fight in the movies, he has a fencing type style. And it's just the way that the curve of the handle is allows for that really interesting hold where it's almost a perfectly straight in line with your arm uh, blade. It gives you a little bit more extension, um, especially for fencing. And it's just really cool to see that on a knife. And it's a lot more comfortable of a handle than I expected. Like I said, that was the only thing I was questioning about this knife. It was absolutely beautiful when I saw it, but the handle and shape was really kind of throwing me off. But now that I have it in my hand, it feels actually really nice. The only problem I have with this knife, and this is a very big problem, is if you'll notice, this knife is really freaking pretty, and I'm not going to want to use it because I won't want to get it scratched up or anything. That's the biggest problem with this knife right now, is it's too damn pretty, and I don't want to mar the blade with anything. It's like it's going to be one of those knives that are so pretty you don't want to use it. I mean, it hurt to cut through that paper, although I just wiped that smudge off. It's an absolutely beautiful knife that I'm never going to want to use. Blade looks to be perfectly centered on there. When it's closed, which is something I always like to see on my knives. Just an overall beauty of a blade, as well. Just beautiful knife overall. Gorgeous knife. I know I'm just laying on this knife, but kind of hard not to. Absolutely beautiful. That's the QSP Dolphin. I need more knife manufacturers to come up with squirrels. No, I don't actually. No, I don't need more knife manufacturers to come up with squirrels because as soon as somebody names their knife, names another knife, the squirrel, it's gonna be another thing I'm gonna end up wanting to toss money at. Okay. Actually, we'll keep that out kind of because that is the last knife I had to unbox. So we're going on. Oh wow, that went on about 2 hours. I've got some time, so I think I will sit here and kind of bullshit with you guys and sniffle a little bit. I made coffee. I never got coffee. Hold on, I'll be right back. I made coffee and completely forgot to pour myself a cup of coffee. And now I'm wanting coffee. I'll get you coffee. I'm still live. I'll get you coffee in a sec. As soon as I find like 20 billion coffee mugs in this apartment. You guys are hearing me in the kitchen, hearing her watching TV in the background. Yeah, she loves Orange is the New Black. I hope you guys can still hear me. I completely forgot that I made coffee when I started this stream 2 hours ago. Alexa, stop. Good grief. Thankfully, coffee is still hot. There you go. Okay, running back to the cave. All right, you guys were still able to hear me, I'm assuming. Coffee. I was gonna say, don't tell me I lost audio again. This is my normal mug size of coffee. I don't know. You can't. Well, I don't want to tip it over. Let's just say it's huge. Oh God. Okay, that is so good. All right, so I am technically done with the unboxing. So I'm thinking now would be a good time for just some random bullshit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of these knives that I just got so you guys can see. I know I went over it before, what I do whenever I get a new knife, how I guess you could say prepare it for my collection. And it depends on the kind of knife that I get. Moderns, I don't normally have to do a whole lot with. The only thing I generally do with my modern knives is if I feel it needs it, I'll give it a good polishing. Not that this one in particular seems to need a whole lot of polishing. I mean, this thing is absolutely gorgeous out of the box. But I'll wipe it down just to make sure there's no gunk on it. And then on my modern knives, the first thing I generally do is apply some oil to the pivot area. Because with most folding knives, even when you're taking really good care of them, the one place that they'll usually start to corrode is at the pivot, because most people don't take their knives apart to clean their knives, and so that tends to collect the most like gunk and stuff is in that pivot area. So I like to apply a drop or two of oil there, and that'll help keep it clean in there, keep it lubricated, and help prevent any issues down the line. And then I'll just work that oil in there. I like to use this stuff. This is KPL. I paid, I think, $16 for this bottle, 15, $16 for this bottle. And I am a little over a third of the way through this bottle, yet I've applied this to literally hundreds of knives. And that's, I mean, you don't need very much. So that it sounds expensive, 15, $16 a bottle of that size, but it goes a very long way. So I applied the oil to the pivot area. I'll usually work it around a little bit to make sure it gets all in there. And then a lot of times what I'll do next is after I've worked that in there, I mean, it was smooth already, but a lot of times when you apply that KPL oil, it feels even smoother. Like it felt great before, but it just adds a little extra, I think. Not that I feel like this really needed it. I'm mainly doing this for protection. Um, and then I'll take a cloth, and I use Wicked Wax, mainly because I happen to have a lot of this Wicked Wax available to me. Um, most paste waxes will do the same thing. Sniffle, sorry. And what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of that Wicked Wax. This one's almost gone. And I'll apply some wax. Okay, the Band-Aid I have on the tip of my finger is making this a little difficult. I'll apply a very light coat of wax. Now I know this is like, oh, but it was a mirror shine, and now you're covering it in wax. Like, I don't care. Um, Now with stainless steel, it's not generally going to become an issue. However, in cases where you might have a knife in storage for a while, like I don't intend to use this knife. It's going to be a conversation piece, a part of my collection. But so it's going to end up probably staying, uh, for the most part, in my knife case. However, even stainless steel, if left uncared for, could still possibly rust. I've had stainless steel knives rust before. Morgan is aware of this because I had a stainless steel claw that was kept in storage and neglected. They took the claw in uh, from one of my auctions, and I don't know. I actually should have asked how the process is going with that. If Brat's been working on that claw at all. Um, but like I was saying, even stainless steel knives will corrode if they're not cared for. So since I know this is going to be sitting in my collection, I apply a generous amount of wax to every blade that sits in my case. And it's a rust preventative, this paste wax. And that'll help keep it from ever corroding even while it's sitting in there. And I do take extra special care. Like I have uh, anti-oxidation packets. I have um, or what do you call that? I have dry packets also in the case, all just to help keep moisture super low in the cases that I have. Same thing I do for my guns, rifles. I have dehumidifying packs or desiccant packs in my cabinet, and just all as rust preventatives. But I still do this even for my stainless steel knives. And I'll try to make sure I get at least a thin coat of wax on every exposed metal area. And yeah, I know it kind of dulls up the mirror shine because of all the wax that I put in. However, if I wanted to show the knife out and show somebody what it looked like, all I simply have to do is buff the wax off like you would any, like, if you waxed a car. Just buff the wax off. And it's still, even if you buff the wax off, it still leaves a very fine wax film on the metal. So it'll still protect it. But once you buff that off, you get a really, really nice shine on the steel. I don't normally buff it off until, like, say I'm showing the knife off, somebody wants to check it out. Then I'll take a cloth and then wipe it down, and that mirror shine is back in moments. And you can see how sharp that blade was. As I was applying wax, it cut through the cloth without even me thinking about it. But that's what I do with a modern knife as soon as I get them in. Is I apply some oil, wax the blade, and I use wax. Wax is a little bit more time consuming because the application process. But since I have time available, I don't mind using wax. Uh, if you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to like waxing your knife, then you can use any type of blade oil, steel oil. I have here, this is camellia oil. Yeah, camellia oil, which is used on a lot of Japanese blades, and is also the wax as well. But this oil and wax are both food grade, meaning that you can use these for your kitchen knives and stuff like that, and it won't affect when it won't affect anything when you're using it to cut up food. So you can use this oil or wax on your kitchen knives to help protect. If you've got some high end kitchen knives, help keep those from rusting, and you don't have to worry about like any weird chemicals or anything like that. Um, but what I was saying is, if you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to waxing your blades, uh, oil like this camellia oil tends to be a lot quicker. You just wipe a thin film of oil on the blade, wipe a little bit off. You don't have to see the oil on the blade. As long as you have a nice thin film, that'll help prevent rust. The only thing with oils is make sure that you wipe off any fingerprints that are on the blade before applying the oil. Because one big difference, from what I understand, what I've been told, and what I've looked up, um, oil does not like neutralize fingerprints. So you want to wipe any fingerprints on the steel itself off and then apply the oil. The paste wax, will neutralize fingerprints. So while I still recommend wiping any fingerprints that you have on the blade off before applying either wax or oil, if you forget to with the wax will help neutralize the oils in those fingerprints. So you don't have to worry as much. It's just a little bit more time consuming to apply the wax than it is the oil, which is why I'm always using the wax. So this one's done. This one's ready to go into my collection. And I'll be doing that with every knife that I ended up getting. Go on next with this Titan knife. Every knife that I get in ends up going through the same process. Because one thing anybody that collects knives doesn't want to see is rust just appearing out of nowhere and ruining a perfectly good knife. Now there are ways to fix that. Like I said, there was some rust on that one claw that Brad got. And the only thing with it is, while most of the times if caught early enough it can be removed um, pretty easily, it still takes a deal of effort to do so. And depending on how much rust is on the blade, can be a bit time consuming. I don't have any. I'd demonstrate if I had a rusty blade with me now, but like I said, I try to take good care of my knives, so I don't. Thankfully, I don't. Or thankfully, I guess, yeah, I don't have any rusty blades to demonstrate that. More often than not, if you've got light spots of rust on a blade, one of the easiest things to do is you get some what do they call it, like quadruple aught, like 0000 steel wool, and it's just a very super fine steel wool. And if you get yourself like some polishing paste, like this Flitz polish that I've got here, you apply a little bit of that and some of that quadruple aught wool, and then just gently rub that area of the blade where the rust is. If the rust is just starting to form, you've just got a few little spots, more often than not, that's all you need to do. Just polish it with that steel wool and a little bit of that Flitz polish, and then a lot of times that rust will just come right off. And then after that, give it a good cleaning. Make sure that you dry the blade completely once you're done cleaning it. and then again apply a thin layer of wax or oil to the blade so that way that'll prevent any further rust from forming. And I've done that before myself where I've gotten a high what they call it, a high carbon blades from Rough Rider. I got one that had just the smallest spot of rust on the blade. And keep in mind, this was a new knife that I bought. I don't know what conditions they had the knife in the warehouse, but it had just the smallest spot of rust on the back or spine of the blade. Oh, I know. I make sure to cover every bit of steel with that wax. But it had a bit of rust, and all I did was take that steel wool, some polish, and that came right off. It takes, depending on how big it is, it could take some time. So it is a bit time intensive, depending on how much, because it does take time to, I guess, work that wool over the spot and polish. Not to mention, once you've gotten rid of that rust spot, a lot of times I'll continue to go over the rest of the blade, make a nice even polish, so it's not just sitting there with a polished spot. And then, like I said, wax and or oil the blade. And even though you can see the wax on here, I just leave it as is. Again, if I'm going to show this to anybody, I'll just grab a cloth, I'll buff it out, and it's as shiny as ever. With oil, I do that a little different because I don't like to gloop oil on a blade. And oil, if you have too much excess oil on a blade, it'll tend to run off everywhere. So what I'll do, let me grab one of these and I'll show you. There's another fixed blade one, the squirrel one. If I use oil instead of using wax, and I'll probably redo this one in wax, but what I'll generally do is I'll apply a drop or two of oil on the blade. There we go. And I'll take a cloth. I've just got an old shirt for this. And then I'll make sure I'll work that oil all over the blade, like I do with that wax. But I also take care to almost look like I wipe it off completely. You don't need like oil to be just globbed on the surface of the blade. As long as you go over the entire surface with oil and just wipe off the excess, that thin film of oil is generally enough to protect the blade from getting any rust spots. The only difficulty I'll probably have with this particular knife is there's so many little nooks and crannies that it's going to be very difficult to get in all of them. In that case, actually, the oil is probably the best thing to use because I can kind of somewhat douse this a little bit in oil and let it kind of run into those nooks and crannies. Whereas the wax doesn't exactly run. So with oil, that's another benefit is it'll usually flow a lot easier and get into those hard to reach areas that you wouldn't be able to do so with wax. But like I said before, you don't have to have a whole lot on the blade, just enough to give it a sheen and wipe off any excess. You don't need to see droplets of oil on it. I'm just doing this to make sure I get all those nooks and crannies. So I'm letting the oil run in there. I go through a lot of oil. I normally use wax. It's just on knives like this where there's so many little cutouts that I'll prefer to really use oil. Because otherwise I'll be spending hours upon hours just trying to get the wax in there. and I'll probably still end up missing a whole lot of spots. But that's pretty good for now. I saw the oil run into all these areas where the squirrel cut out, and in the gut hook area, but that should be good. And make sure I get the blade edge, and I'll probably keep this out for another demonstration as well. It is pretty sharp, but I can see a couple spots where it could be sharpened. So we'll keep that out for another thing. But that's what I'll do for blades that have so many different like corners or whatnot cut into them. Excuse me. Other than that, do you guys have any questions on what I do with my knives, how I handle my knives, or care for them, or my collection itself? I'm just opening this up for chat. In the meantime, I'm going to have more of this freeze-dried taffy. mm, you're heating food? What food are you heating? Oh god, this stuff is good. It just melts in your mouth. I still got a lollipop sitting on a paper plate over there. This stuff is so good. No questions? Do I still have my audio on? Okay, I don't know. I don't know what brand lollipops, unless he makes these lollipops, but these are fantastic lollipops. I'm not a lollipop guy, but these are great. You might need me to sharpen your old knives. You stink at it. We'll go over sharpening. Let's do that. Now you don't really need like a bunch of fancy equipment to sharpen a knife. And it doesn't have to be really expensive equipment either. I have things like, hold on. I have things like this. This is a diamond stone. And this one happens to be a 400 grit diamond stone. And I'm actually been testing this one out because this is a relatively inexpensive one. And generally, you don't want to go too inexpensive because you can run into issues with the quality of the stone. And there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of standards in regards to uh, sharpening stones. Like you might have a couple of them that say like 400 grit, but even though they all say 400 grit, they might all perform vastly different and sharpen vastly different from each other. In this case, this is basically a diamond impregnated metal bar, and I like these types of stones, these diamond stones. I like to use them for sharpening because a lot of times, if you don't know what kind of steel your knife is made out of, some knife steels can be exceptionally hard and hard to sharpen. Um, One example is D2 steel. D2 steel, like we were saying before, is a semi-stainless steel. But one of the benefits to D2 steel is it's a really hard steel that can keep a sharp edge for a very long time. It has the ability to retain its edge really well, even through a lot of use. The problem with that is knives that have really good edge retention generally don't have as much toughness. Meaning, if they do end up getting dull, a lot of times what ends up happening is it's because the steel gets little chips in it. And being uh, a really hard steel D2 is very hard to sharpen. If you were to try to sharpen D2 steel on a stone, whetstone, more often than not, you could probably end up screwing up your stone. I mean, D2 steel is a tool steel. They use that steel to make other steel tools. But um, while it's too strong for a lot of whetstones, diamond stones tend to handle it a lot better. And I use these diamond stones for everything, but especially if I have to deal with a knife that's made out of D2 steel. I'm sorry, I if I pause at odd moments, it's because of this freaking lollipop. Now, like I have this, I have a holder for this plate. The holder came separately. A lot of times these plates, this one's a 400 grit, and what you would do is, in this case, this holder has two places to tighten up. You put your stone in there, you tighten it up, and this holder is also rubberized, so that way it grips. It doesn't slide around when you're using it on a table, and then you just tighten it. And this particular stone, like I said, it has a 400 grit on this side. If you flip it over, it has a finer 1000 grit on the other. Depending on what, I know, like I said, I did. This was an inexpensive stone. Just noticed a little chrome chip. That I was testing out. I was testing out the stone because it was cheap. You don't have to get a ton of different grits to sharpen a knife. And you don't always even need a fine grit stone. A lot of times, especially like D2, you're fine with a 325 to 400 grit stone. And a lot of times you can get a knife good, well, and sharp with just using that stone. I tend to be stickler and like to do a little finer to polish the stone a little bit and move on to even finer stones. But that's an example of one thing that I'll use to sharpen my blades. Now, I was saying you don't have to spend a lot. You don't have to get a lot of fancy stuff. And that's what I'm going to show you next. If you're wanting to sharpen your knives on a budget, you don't want to spend a whole lot, but you want something that's good quality. First thing I'm going to mention is don't get any of those sharpeners that you just simply draw your knives through. The ones where it sits on the table, you take your knife and you just sort of drag it through this V-shaped thing that sharpens your knife. Don't get one of those. I mean, they're handy in some circumstances, like say you're out in the field, you're doing some hunting, you realize your knife is really dull. They'll help on the spot. But what I find with those types of sharpeners is they tend to remove too much steel from the blade because they're literally shaving metal off the knife when you run them through those things. And a lot of times you're just removing way too much steel when sometimes all you need to do is get a leather strop, and that's all the knife needed. Um, one the one sharpener I use the most, even more than these stones, the one sharpener I use the most, and it's only about like 35, 40, 45 bucks, and between 35, $45. Um, is this here? Hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out a place to put this big ass stone. Is this here? This is made by Worksharp. This is, hold on, let me pull this up. I know I've showed this on the previous video, but this is how much I've used this and how much I actually like this this little sharpener. This way I can get you guys an accurate price. I'll put a link down on this one below as well. Excuse me. If you purchase from my affiliate links on Amazon, I get a little tiny help. But I'll put that in the description if you guys want to check it out. It's Worksharp Guided Field Sharpener. And okay, on Amazon it's $39.95. You can even buy these in 3 packs for like $100. But yeah, one's going to cost you about $40. And actually, that $3 or that 3 packs a pretty good deal now that I'm looking at it. Anyway, the cool thing about this sharpener is not only is it compact, you can throw this in a backpack, okay, and take it wherever you go. But you have a bunch of different types of. Well, first of all, you've got a coarse diamond stone, and the reason why I'm flipping these around is because here you got a coarse diamond stone. Okay, this is rough. I don't know what grit this is. This is a. It says coarse. It's probably like a 400 to between 4 and 500 grit diamond stone. And this thing has a magnet. So if you're not using the diamond stone, you can protect the diamond stone by taking it off, flipping it over, and that's a convenient way to store the sharpener and the stone so it doesn't go scratching anything else in your bag. So you have a coarse side, you have a fine side, which acts the same way. This is probably anywhere from, I'm guessing, 1,000 to 1,200 grit fine stone. It doesn't really give me the number, unfortunately. Does it say it on the website? Now that I think about it, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I know it's got to say. Oh, okay, here. Oh, the coarse diamond is 220 grit. The fine diamond, really? Fine diamond is 600 grit. Wow, I was way off. The fine diamond is a 600 grit stone. And if I'm using either one of these stones, I find that if I'm sharpening D2 steel, I'm using the coarse stone for the most part. Anything else, maybe I'll use the fine stone. But yeah, you have those two types of diamond plates. You also have a ceramic rod, and this is an even finer stone. Made it obviously, like I said, ceramic. You have a coarse ceramic, and then if you turn this knob, you have a fine ceramic, and great for like finishing, polishing a knife edge. In between, you actually have a spot for sharpening fish hooks. So that's a nifty little thing. Um, and then you also have this other stone right here, and this is great if you need to sharpen serrated edges. These will fit in this. This will fit in the serrations, and you can use that to sharpen serrated edges. I don't use it because I generally don't like serrated knives, so I generally don't collect serrated knives. Also, the shape, um, the shape of this tool lends itself to sharpening because each of these angled areas on the sharpener are a guide. So you want to keep a certain angle when you're sharpening your knife. So when you're sharpening, you place it flat along one of these guides, and that helps you keep the same angle as you're drawing the knife over either the diamond stone or the ceramic rod. Okay, so if I were to run this over the ceramic rod, I place it on that angle, and then I just make sure I kind of lock my wrist, and then I just draw that to the tip, and then they have an angle on the other side. Again, press up against the angle, and then just lock my wrist and draw it to the tip. And I use the ceramic rods on this thing more than anything. I don't even use the fine as often, and the coarse even less, because the coarse side I only use if, say, the knife really needs to get its edge done because there's chips or rolls in it. and then I'll use the coarse stone. And then lastly, this also has a leather strop, as you can see here. I've covered. Normally, it comes already with. I forgot what they call this. I completely forgot what they call it. The information left my brain. Um, it looks like a green crayon, buffing compound. That's what it is. The leather strop, when you buy one of these sharpeners, the leather strop already has buffing compound in the strop, so you don't have to add anything to it. In my case, I've used it enough that I've scraped the compound off and reapplied my own compound to it. Actually, I think this is like the third or fourth time I've done that. And again, the angles work as a guide. And when you're done sharpening, you're just taking. Oh, this is a little grip area for your thumb. When you're done sharpening and you're gonna work it off the strap, you can use the angles of this as a guide, because then what you're doing, just like you'd see in like old barber flicks or cartoons or whatever, just lightly running it over the leather strap to finish off the blade and basically give that edge a nice polish. And then more often than not, that's what I was talking before. A lot of times those sharpeners that you drag through, they end up taking up too much steel away from the edge. You're shaving bits of steel off that edge to make it nice and sharp. Basically, you're reprofiling it. A lot of times the knife doesn't need that. A lot of times all you need to do, maybe a ceramic rod, just a pass, or a few passes, and you don't even have to apply all that much pressure. Like, I'm just applying a little bit more really than the weight of the knife. And the reason why I'm using this knife is when I was looking, I should have showed it to you guys beforehand, because now you guys aren't going to see it. But there were a few places on the blade edge that I noticed, especially looking at it with the light shining above it, where there were a few spots along that edge that had what looked like to be. Now you're not going to see it now, because literally just those few passes on the fine rod cleared it up. But there are a few like shiny spots where you can tell like the edge might have rolled a little bit. So they're kind of like, you got your nice sharp edge, and then you had a little like flattened spot, really small. Like I said, the only way I was able to tell is because when I was shining the light on it, you can kind of see them. They're gone now, so there's no way I can see them now. But as opposed to using one of those drag-through sharpeners, all this needed was just a couple runs over the ceramic, a few passes, and again, I'm not applying a lot of pressure. I've done this enough times that I know my angles here. I don't have to use a guide, but just a few times over the strop, and those flat spots, or those little tiny itty bitty spots, are completely gone. I just put that buffing compound on that strop before my stream, so a little of it tends to hang onto the knife. So I'm wiping that away. But now those little spots that I saw earlier are actually completely gone, and that's a lot of times all you need. That those pull-through sharpeners would have just taken off way too much metal, and you end up just shortening the life of your knife, because the more you use those things, you're shaving more and more metal off, and eventually you end up with this goofy looking knife edge. There we go. Look at that. And that's all it needed. Those little spots that were on that blade before, I wish I had thought about it. Those would have been spots that could have caught the paper and then tore the paper as opposed to cut through. But that edge is now super razor sharp. I don't have Being Asian, I don't have a lot of hair. I don't have it shaving sharp. I was being, well, it's shaving some hair off. If I wanted to work on it a little bit more, I could probably get it to shaving sharp. This is not a blade I'd normally try to shave with. It's kind of a weird shape, but I could probably get it there with a little bit more work. But as you can see, it didn't need much to get it nice and sharp. Working condition. It only took me a few moments, a few runs over that ceramic. We'll take a look at this one. I know I just waxed this one, but I don't care. I could always re-wax it. This one already felt pretty sharp, but we'll take a look at it. I'm gonna do another sharpening demonstration, I guess. Actually, put this back in the bag. This bag has a hole in it. Okay. So we'll do it with this one. Let me just wipe the wax off this. So I don't have wax going everywhere. And let's see how sharp this was before. It probably was already sharp. This might be a bad example. I mean, it felt sharp when I was looking at it the first time. Okay. It could use a little work. As you can see, it catches a little bit. I mean, there's some sharp spots on there, but you can tell, and you can maybe even hear it. It sounds like it's tearing more. Yeah. Okay, so this might be a good example then. There we go. So I didn't notice any like rolls along the edge. Like no, I didn't notice anything like a chip or anything. So the edge looks fine. I think it just needs a little bit of fine honing. And then I'll just use the work sharp to give you an idea how much I like this thing. And what I'm going to do is, I could probably start with a fine, but I'm going to go ahead and go to the coarse ceramic rod. I'm not even going to use the diamond plates. I don't think it's not a condition that I think warrants needing to use the diamond. But I'm going to use the ceramic rods. And again, you can use those angles as a guide, these angles here. And using that as a guide, I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure. You don't need to push down really hard at all. And then I'm just going to run to the tip. And on the coarse one, I'll go like 3 aside. Let's see, hold on. I didn't create a, well, there's a little bit of a burr, just a hair. And then I'll usually start decreasing the amount of, I guess, swipes along the rod till I'm just down to 1. And then I'll just go back and forth. And as I go back and forth, I'll slowly lighten up the pressure even more. Till I'm almost just running the blade over the stone with not much more than the weight of the blade itself. I am feeling a rough spot along the, like, I guess the forward edge of the belly here. You can see it when I'm catching the rod, the blade stops. Because again, I'm not applying a lot of pressure, so it's really easy if there's a rough spot for the blade to stop. And I'm just going to keep going back and forth until I feel it smooth out, which it's already starting to do. And I think it's only really along that one side of the edge. Okay, we're going to move on to the fine. And the hardest part about this is trying to keep your angle. I know I'm moving my wrist, which you generally don't want to do. Normally you want to lock your wrist, especially when you're using the bigger sharpeners. I'm just trying to keep the angle I'm bringing this blade back. Now, if you don't want to draw, if you're worried about drawing the knife to you, you can always just keep flipping this over. Or actually, no, not this. What am I doing? You can always flip the knife over if you don't want to draw it towards yourself. Like if you want to do it this way. I just don't like switching my hands over. And again, I'm just going one at a time. Not pressing down very hard at all. And there's other factors that go into this, like what kind of steel the knife blade is made out of. D2 steel is famous for being harder to sharpen. So if this were a D2 steel blade, I would probably have to spend a little bit more time. And in that case, I would probably be using the diamond plate as opposed to using the ceramic rods. And then I'm just going to check to make sure I didn't leave a burr on either side of this blade. Okay, and then moving on to the strop. Now the strop, I strop the same direction I sharpen. So since I was drawing from the base of the blade at an angle towards the tip, when I'm stropping on the leather strop, I'll go from the tip down to the base of the blade. So I'm kind of what I'm doing here is I'm kind of following the scratch pattern that I was creating or working on with the ceramic. And I'll do several passes with this. Again, you don't want to apply a lot of pressure when you're stropping, especially when you're using a leather strop like this. You just need to lightly run the blade over the strop. If you push down too hard, it's possible to actually curl the edge of the blade over a little bit. And you'll end up like dulling the blade instead of like fine tuning that edge, which you would be doing with a strop, which is what you want to be doing with a strop. So you don't want to press too hard. Now I'm just going to wipe off some of the compound that I know came off. Let's see how I did. Oh, there's a little spot. Much better. I think there's a little spot like that I was missing on the very edge of that blade, or the body of the blade, or I don't know what you want to call that. But yeah, I can work on it more. But towards the edge, oh, I'm doing a horrible job. Already bent that paper a lot. There we go. I don't hear the tearing as much as I did before. No, I was just doing this quickly. There's still a little bit of work I could do. I was just doing it fast. But it's already sharper than it was before. I probably could go... Yeah. I'm trying to be quick for the video. I probably should have spent more time on the course. Let's do that again. Because I'm shaming myself right now. I should have just, instead of for speed of the video, I should have just gone ahead and done it like I normally would without paying attention to the fact that I'm live. I rushed through it for sake of the video. I shouldn't have done that. But the blade was actually a lot better than it was before. There we go. If this doesn't work, you're gonna get the lady from Game of Thrones and the Shame. Shame. The one thing they'll probably do is make me want to keep my clothes on, though. I don't think they'll want me to walk around the streets naked. Nobody will want to watch that. Much better. And that didn't take much time at all. Redeemed. Redeemed. Much better. So yeah, it really doesn't, if you pay attention to it and not get distracted by the fact that you're doing this live, it doesn't take much time at all. And like I was saying before, this little tool, I probably used more often than any other and I've got a few sharpening stones and things that I've acquired and that I've used. And after getting this little guy, I've used this more than I've used any of my other stuff. And some of that other stuff is even more expensive than this thing. But I'll be honest, once I've run this down to the point of where I can't use the strop or the stones anymore, or the ceramic, I'm definitely, I plan on getting another one, because this one has been staying at home. I used to keep it in my backpack, but I found out that I've been using it. I found that I use it more and more, so I've kept it at home. And I want to keep another one kind of like a, an emergency thing in my backpack if I ever needed to work on a knife, because it just does such a good job that it's so easy for me to grab this thing than to go and, say, for example, grab this and then, get once I'm done with that, fine tune it, flip it over, grab my leather strop here, and then run the knife over this strop. It's so much more easy to grab this thing than grab the other stuff, even though this stuff really works really, really well. And I guess if I have the time to sit and spend a lot of time with sharpening knives, I would use those other ones. But more often than not, it's just super quick to grab this, hone my knife, sharpen my knife with this thing, and I'm already good to go. And then put this back on the shelf, desk, whatever, backpack that it fits in, and that's it. So yeah, this thing is freaking awesome. There's another one. Excuse me. There's another one that I've been meaning to try from a similar company or similar company. Another one that I'm meaning to try that's a similar type, um, from a different company. And I can't. Was it Sharpall? Hold on. Or knife sharpener. I think it's made by Sharpall, but it looks more like a rod or baton, and it's a similar thing, uh, like this, except instead it's got a handle and it looks like a rod, and it just has different surfaces on that rod that you can switch around that are basically similar to these things, like a leather strop surface, diamond, ceramic. Um, I can't remember who makes it. I'm trying to find it. I'd like to say it's Sharpall, but I could be wrong. I don't have one yet. I've been meaning to get one to try it out. Yeah, okay, it's made by Sharpall. The 210N transfer rod. 11-in-1 adjustable angle knife sharpener. So it looks like a baton with even a little lanyard strap to put around your wrist. But it has similar like plates, ceramic rods, and even a leather strap. And you would hold it like a rod and then just run your knife over it like I was doing this thing. And that's another one. It's maybe not as small as this. It's a bit bigger than this thing, but still portable. And I've heard good things about that. Um, and there's many other type of sharpening stones you can get and type ways to sharpen. There are sharpening tools that actually you would attach to the table, or they have a stand, and what they do is they have a little plate that looks like a stick, and then you can adjust the angle so you'd have your knife sitting in this holder, and you can go back and forth, and because the way it's made, it's always going to be the same angle, and they're like these desktop sharpeners. You can get other things similar to this, like one of my favorite ones. Where is it? Is as soon as I can yank it out of the box. I haven't used this one yet, because I had a smaller version that I was using before, and again, like I said, I keep using this thing all the time. This one is made by Sharpall. This one's similar to that one I showed you, the holder, except this. Let me pull it out. Like I said, I haven't used this one yet. It's essentially the same thing as this thing is here, except I didn't need to buy a separate holder, and it comes with its own case. And this one, if you open it up, the case itself is like the stand, and you have your diamond stoned. It's double sided. I'm not gonna take it out because this will be a pain in the butt to take it in. You have a little magnetic angle guide here that I'm also having trouble taking out because, again, there we go. You have a little angle guide here, and everything stores in this case. And when you want to use it, close the case. Your stone fits on top. There's little rubber feet, or actually in this case, a rubber pad to keep it from sliding around. And you have a coarse and a fine side, and then you just sharpen using this. Flip it over to the fine side, continue sharpening. The guide has a few different angles. You have a 14-degree angle, 17, which is probably the most common angle, 20 and 25. And what you would do is you would just lay this on the stone, fit your knife onto that, flatten it against the angle you want, and then again lock your wrist and then just sharpen away. But this is pretty neat because the stones are, from what I understand, really good quality diamond stones. And again, I didn't have to purchase a separate holder for it because the case it comes with is the holder, and it just all stores neatly in here. I don't know why there's a separate. That's weird. Why was that up there and not down here? That's strange. Anyway, you get the angle guide. Everything stores into the same stand that you use to sharpen with, and there you go. So that's pretty nifty, as opposed to, like, getting a diamond stone, buying a separate holder. I forgot how much the holder was. And then, just getting it all separately and then finding a place to put it. The only other thing that you would need to get if you were to get something like this is you'll want to make sure you get yourself a nice leather strap. And these are pretty easy to come by. This is just a thin cut of leather. You've got your rougher side, which is what I use primarily, and then you have a somewhat smoother side. If you really want to polish that edge, I never really get to that side. This is about as far as I go, and that's all I really need. And a lot of times when you buy a leather strap, patch of leather for a leather strap, it also comes with that stropping compound. And the stropping compound basically looks like a large green crayon. And then what you'd do is you'd rub that stropping compound onto the leather, and that's all that stuff that you see there. But that stropping compound looks like here's the one I've been using. Looks like a big green crayon. And you'll see different colors, and each color has a different type of grit to it. This is the most common one you'll tend to see. Sometimes you'll see white. I forgot what other colors you might find around. But those, like the diamond stone, the holder, if it doesn't come in a kit like the Sharp Haul does, and a leather strap are the most basic things you need when it comes to sharpening. You don't need to get super fancy. And then if you watch a few videos, learn what to do, that's all you really need. And there's a lot of good videos out there to teach you how to sharpen. I mean, I was thinking of going over some of this stuff. It's not difficult. It's just time consuming. Just try to put this back in the box. This thing comes in two different sizes. This is the bigger one. This one's 8x3. I do have a smaller one that I actually almost tried to auction off, and nobody wanted it. The smaller one is 6 inches by 2.5 inches, I believe. So yeah, these come in two different sizes. And also the other thing that's nice about these diamond stones is you also don't need to wet them. You don't need honing oil. You don't need to put them in water. In fact, you want to make sure you don't put them in water because it's a metal plate. It'll rust. You don't need any special thing to apply to it. You just put it in a holder and you get to sharpening. That's it. This is another series of plates that I was going to test out at some point. These aren't double-sided, but I think it was like $20. And these came in different grits: 400, 600, 800, 1000, and 1200. These are thinner plates as opposed to this big block. But this was one that I wanted to test out that I heard was actually surprisingly good. And I think I'd like to say it was around $20 to $30 for this set. But I've got so many sharpening plates. I don't even know if I'm going to use them all. Like, I haven't even used that big one yet. I've used this one on my kitchen knives, and on occasion some of my pocket knives. But again, most of the time I'm using this. I haven't had to stray away from this at all. In fact, this has been getting so much use that I really do want to get a couple more. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up using it to oblivion. But that's what I use to sharpen my knives, and then with this one, it's just way too easy. Oh my god, there's grit everywhere. Probably from the crayon or this stuff. I just realized. Yep, that's what that is. I'm going to have to vacuum. But that's what I use to sharpen my knives, and we've gone over like how I maintain my knives, the whole oiling and waxing thing. If you guys have any questions, now would be the time to ask them, I guess. Oh, you got to get going, Caboose. Okay, well, have a good one, Caboose. Let me know if you need help with sharpening any of your knives. I mean, I don't have a problem doing it. I'd be happy to do them for you. As you can see, it doesn't take very long to do. And now that I got this nice and sharpened, I'm going to go ahead and reapply that wax that I wiped off earlier. Just make sure I get it all over that blade, the back, on the spine. Being careful of that edge now that I got it sharp. And there we go. And then I've got a ton more knives that I got in to do. Oh, I want to take care of that automatic knife I got next. I'll make sure that's nicely oiled and taken care of. But there you go. This one's done. Razor sharp. Well, just about. Beautiful knife though. Another one that it's gonna probably be on my favorites list. I forgot I had coffee again. Thankfully, it's still warm. One problem I have is when I start to focus on something, I have a habit of forgetting to drink or sometimes even eat. It's really evident when I'm doing my video game streams. I'll like end a video game and realize I didn't drink anything. I'm dry. Remember to hydrate. Where did I put that other knife? There you are. We'll take care of this guy. So, any questions from anybody watching? Or just chat. I don't care. I'm happy to just chat. Okay. We'll deal with you next. You beautiful, beautiful knife. That is absolutely gorgeous. And totally cool. It's so cool. I think the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at that well. And the well is the part the blade ends up sitting in. Because it's enclosed. And even with a good manufacturer, a lot of times you still get some machining gunk left inside this well. So one thing that I'm going to do that's a little different from my other modern knives is I'm going to lay down, let's see here. I'm going to lay down this paper and a cloth because I'm going to start pouring some oil. And there's a good possibility it might get in a lot of places I don't want to get. So where's the other cloth that I have that I am missing? I want to get like a garbage cloth. One that I do not care about. As soon as I figure out where they all went, that's good enough. An old t-shirt I cut up. And then I'm going to get some oil all along into the well. You're just happy to still have lights. I know what you mean. That was really weird when the power went out yesterday during my game stream. I am so glad I have batteries. Oh, already leaked out and got everywhere else. And then I'm going to grab a toothpick because that's a really thin well. And I'm just going to rub that oil all around in there and try to get rid of whatever gunk might still be in this. Well, I can see a lot of black stuff, like leftover stuff from machining, I'm guessing, that didn't quite get cleaned out. And it doesn't matter the manufacturer, it's just what happens. They can't get all of it out. And I'm not going to be able to get all of it out either. I'm just doing my best job I can to get what they missed. Because I want to get as much of that stuff. Because if it's like little bits of metal or whatever, it's just another thing I want to get out so it doesn't prematurely wear any mechanisms or springs down. If I had a thinner Q-tip, it would work great, but I don't. All I've got are these toothpicks. So I will work with that. A little bit more oil. Brad likes to take the knives apart. I've taken knives apart on occasion. I just don't like to if I don't have to. It's the same philosophy I have with a lot of like electronics is if you don't have to get into it, I try not to because sometimes when you're getting into things, I mean if you're comfortable doing it by all means. I just know that sometimes when you're getting into things, it's just another possible avenue for something to go wrong. I mean, if there's something that's definitely wrong, I'll get into it. And there's a lot of cases where I just have to. You know, there's no getting around it. But if I don't find it to be necessary, I won't get in there. More often than not, when I'm cleaning a knife like this, I don't need to do more than what I'm doing. This gets out the majority of the gunk that's in there. And I very rarely have to go much deeper. I think I've only done that on like 2 knives that were very well used, where I've gone in and had to take the knife apart. And especially with a knife like a traditional, where you really can't take the knife apart, or at least I'm assuming you can, uh, but I'm not that well versed in traditional knives to like remove a pin, replace a pin. Lord knows I'll probably end up doing more damage than anything. The 2 knives that I've had to go in and take apart were both modern knives. Those tend to be a lot easier to take apart if you have to, because it's just screws and spacers and whatnot. Very rarely is anything like on a modern knife like pinned to anything. Uh, there's a bit of gunk in there. What ended up happening when I ran this oil in here is I run oil into this well, and I do the same thing with my other traditional knives. And once I've run oil, I'll run oil from the blade side, and I'll let the oil run down. But a lot of times it'll just carry gunk to the bottom. And there's a bit that got carried to the bottom on this one. And then from there, I'll just scrape downwards towards the bottom to help move things along. And it all comes out down here. I've been meaning to get these really small, like Q-tip things. I just haven't picked them up. And they're basically like miniature brushes that are about as thin as a toothpick, but they have a brush at at the end. And you can kind of do the same thing with a toothpick. What I'll do is I'll take the toothpick, I'll take something heavy, metal, like this edge of this knife will do, and I'll just sort of squish the end against like a table, and that'll flatten it out and almost create like a small miniature brush. Except this time it's deciding to be just flat. There we go. And a little bit more. And let that run down. And now this toothpick acts like a little tiny brush. I can move everything down to the bottom. And this is just about done. But like I wouldn't even begin to know how to take this one apart. It's good. This one's got screws, so it's a little different than another traditional knife. I mean, it looks like a traditional, but I think it's just in looks alone. I suppose I could take this one apart, but since this is a new type of mechanism, I have no idea how it works. Like, which is different than say like I know how out the fronts work, like how the spring systems and everything work on an out the front. I know how your most basic like flippers work, crossbars and things like that. So I don't have a problem taking those apart if I really need to. This mechanism is entirely new to me though. Last thing I want to do is take a knife that I just got that was relatively expensive and take it apart without knowing what to do, and then well, there goes the knife. There goes my money. All right. I think we've got pretty much everything that I can get out of that. And the upside to doing it this to clearing the inside of that using oil is now I've well oiled pretty much the entire inner workings of this knife. So um in regards to like corrosion, at least the inside of that's gonna be pretty well protected. I'm just right now trying to remove any excess oil. So when I go put this away, I don't have oil leaking out everywhere. Because I know this oil eventually will start to run if I don't remove any of it for the excess. And in fact, it might be hard to see. Before, where it was pretty dark, it's now pretty darn shiny in there. Except for a spot or two. There we go. Got it. I think they don't worry too much about wells and traditional knives and stuff like that because they don't figure a lot of people go looking into them. But especially when I'm considering knives I that in this case is, I mean, I'm considering this knife to be a pretty special knife and precious knife, at least to me anyway. So I'm going to take some extra care when it comes to working on this knife and keeping it clean and grit free, hopefully. Now, I did apply quite a lot of oil to the inside, so I don't think I really need to do a whole lot in regards to oiling the pivot, but I didn't really hit the pivot. I really just hit the well. So I don't know how much oil actually made it into the pivot. What I'm gonna do is I'm still gonna apply some KPL to the pivot area, just in case I accidentally pushed any grit into there. That'll help keep any grit that might be there suspended in oil and cut down on any wear. Okay, I think we're good there. My KPL. This is really cool. Such a neat mechanism. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll apply a couple drops. Actually, I'm noticing a little, I don't know if that's what that is. A little bit of grit there. There we go. Nice and shiny and clean on the inside. Now I'm going to apply a couple drops to either side. I'm not sure exactly how this mechanism works, so I'm going to apply a little bit to the mechanism because that's going to be sliding back and forth a lot. And that should help cut down on any friction. Oh, wow. That already that already moved a lot smoother than when I first got it after adding that oil. And I didn't even really work that oil in. I didn't think I had to. I even heard when I was closing it, and that's why I wanted to reapply some oil to the pivot. I don't think the microphone picked it up. But before I added the KPL and before I took that swab, ooh, to the to this area to remove what it looked like a bit of grit, I could feel a little scratchiness when I was closing the blade, and the scratchiness is now completely gone. Not only is the scratchiness completely gone, but the or the unlocking mechanism, the bolster moves a lot smoother. And yeah, I don't feel any or hear any of that grittiness anymore at all. That's really cool. I am really liking this knife. I'm going to do an extended video on this one later. I'll just wipe the excess off. Now, 154 cm steel is a stainless steel blade, but I'll wax this anyway. Because again, it's just another added line of protection against any corrosion. The inside should be well taken care of after I applied all that oil. That's very fast. Very fast and very smooth. This knife is cool as hell. The problem is now I'm going to want another one. And that wood one is calling my name, except that one's a pricey guy. That's like 180, I think he said, or I think it said on the website, roughly around that. But a very pretty wood. I'm kind of surprised the wood one's even more expensive. Same type of steel, just with wood scales as opposed to this abalone. But I'm just in love with the. I'm in love with the mechanism for opening the blade. It's just really neat. I love the look because it looks like a traditional knife, but it isn't. And I really like the looks of these traditional knives that I've been getting lately. Perfectly well centered. You know what I never did? Nice sharp blade. A little loud. So I'm thinking I could probably strop that. I wouldn't even probably need to take it to a ceramic rod. Maybe just a stropping would be all that this thing needs. Because it was cutting really well, but it was a little on the loud side with that magazine paper. Honestly, with a lot of knives, all you need is a leather strop. All depends on how much, like how dull it's feeling. But you'd be surprised at how much sharper a knife will feel with just some leather and buffing compound. In fact, that's probably more than I even needed to do. Already better. Already better. And that was just some bit of leather. Ugh. Okay. Has Brat been working on that claw? Has she started working on that claw, Morgan? Because if she had, I'd love to see photos. I want to see photos of like the progression. I think that would be awesome. I hope she took photos of it before. It just occurred to me. Have her take photos of the claw before, and then just take progressive. Oh, not yet. Okay. Tell her. Make sure she knows. Take a couple photos before she starts working on it, and then every once in a while, as she's working on it, just like steps of progression. Because I'd love to see how that progresses, and also, of course, the finishing product. Because I think that would be an awesome thing to look at. Because that claw was admittedly, like, I didn't neglect it in the way that I mistreated the blade. Well, I guess some people would consider me mistreating it that way. But it was kind of like I said, it was left in storage and like forgotten about. And even though it's a stainless steel, like I said, it was completely neglected in a storage area that wasn't like, humidity controlled or anything. So it eventually just started pitting and getting rust spots, which is a shame because it was a really pretty wall piece and very sharp. Like, I mean, it was technically functional, even though it was a weird claw. But it was just also just a very neat wall piece. Okay, so I think. Oh yeah, it's sharp. It's sharp. Another reason to be careful with it, especially since it's got some rust spots. You don't want to cut yourself with it. Um, like when I started polishing that off. I had actually just recently got a rotary tool because I was cleaning off an old sword that I had that had developed a little, a couple of spots of blemish because that one had been kept in storage along with a claw, and it wasn't anywhere near the condition that the claw was in because I know that the sword had a decent amount of oil applied to the blade before it was placed in storage. But keep in mind that it was in storage for probably a good several years, and it had a few blemishes to it. But after spending time, I decided, like, I started off with trying to clean off the claw, and I realized this is going to take a lot of time. Not to mention, with all the sharp bits on that claw, it wasn't going to be fun. So I ended up getting a rotary tool, and I was going to use that to work on the claw and the sword, just to shorten the time I had to sit there and rub uh, steel wool over it. Otherwise, it would take me forever. I don't know how Brat plans on doing it. If she's just going to do it by hand. If she does it by hand, kudos to her. Because that's going to take a while. Especially with that claw. All right. I got the blade waxed already, so let's close that up. There we go. Now I'm just applying wax to the... Actually, hold on. I don't think I want to apply wax to the bolster. Okay. Let's just close that up. There we go. Just applying wax to the other metal portions of this knife. But I'm really interested in seeing how that turns out, and also the progression of that claw when she gets to actually sharpening, or not sharpening, polishing that thing. Okay, I think we are good and done with this one. Well oiled, well cleaned, well waxed, and hopefully well preserved till the next time I decide to show it off to friends. However, yeah, now I'm really wanting another one so I can carry it. One thing I got to do is I got to make sure I put that warranty through. That'll be a thing, because I know they have a very good warranty. They've talked about the warranty on that, on those Cobra Tech knives a few times, and I really want to make sure that I activate the warranty for that knife. Oh, you're not sure if she has a rotary or not? They're inexpensive now. I got like a brand name Dremel. I forgot how much that cost, but it came with a few different heads to it, like some felt polishing heads and stuff like that. Actually, I can tell you which one I got. I think I got it while it was on sale though, so I don't know how much it normally is. It was a pretty basic one. It's cordless, so you don't have to worry about a cord laying around when you're using it. You just charge it up, and then it's good for a bit. $60 for a cordless rotary tool, variable speed, USB charging, and a few accessories. Oh, she's got a kit for cleaning and sharpening, but no idea what's in it. You'll have to show me the kit sometime. I'm kind of curious. But I think, unless anybody else has any questions or stuff, I think that's going to be it for this one. This one's we've been running, what, 3.5 hours? I think I'm good. I got a lot of cleanup to do. I still have a ton of knives to polish up, and then I've got dinner to make, and my girlfriend to feed, as well as get prepared for tonight's video game session. Not sure what I'm going to do with the video game. I'm probably going to do more Death Stranding, unless for shits and giggles I get distracted by something. It's been a while since I've played any multiplayer games also, so I know we saw Caboose earlier, but I don't know if he's free for anything. But anyway, I think that'll be it for tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. Hope you guys had fun watching. If you liked what you saw, please please drop a like down below. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified anytime I get a new video out for you guys to watch. I'm trying to think of anything else really before I cut this video off completely. I will have another unboxing, I'm sure, next week, but I don't think I'm going to have even anywhere near as much as I had today. So I think it's mostly going to be like chilling, chatting, hanging out, talking about knives. If you guys want to talk about knives, and maybe I'll do more sharpening, because I know there's a few knives that I'd like to get to razor sharp, like those fixed blades that I just got in. And I've got a couple knives that I've been using kind of heavily that could probably use a sharpening as well. I know I did get to them today, but I'll have probably more time to do that extra stuff next week. So at least for now, plan on seeing another live next week, Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So thanks again for watching. If you guys have any questions or want to elaborate on anything that you saw today, feel free, comment below. I know it's been hard to do because I go through so much stuff, but I'll try to put some more links tonight on this particular live stream, because I know some of you might be a little curious as to where I got the QSP, where I got the Cobra Tech, as well as the stuff that I use for sharpening and maintaining my knives. So I'll try to update this one with all that information. So thanks again for watching, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye. I don't have an ending for this yet. I'm just going to be like, oh, this is the ending of the video. I don't have an ending video for Morgan. So I'm going to, I don't know, talk. No, I'm just going to end it. We're done. I'm not going to try singing. It hurts my own brain. Thanks for watching. Bye.